Chapter 1399. Chilean Mountain Range, Qinghai Province. An old lady dressed in linen clothes and a headscarf was lying on a bamboo chair in a thatched hut. As she waved her hands, streams of air twisted in the air and finally condensed into a colorful handkerchief. Suddenly, a round of applause came from the door. The old lady's body trembled and her hands stopped moving. Fellow Taoist Tang, didn't you ascend to the world of immortals? How did you come down? The old lady put down the handkerchief after seeing who was standing at the door. Don't tell me you failed your tribulation again, and luckily returned to earth with a wisp of your soul. Cough. Tan Xiu was about to greet the old lady with a smile, but his handsome face turned red when he heard what the old lady said. At the same time, he coughed violently. Looking at the old lady's mischievous expression, Tan Xiu knew that she did it on purpose. I've let fellow Taoists see me make a fool of myself. I came to visit fellow Taoist on purpose, as well as to repay your kindness in taking in the ninth maid. Tang Xiu cupped his hands to greet the old woman. Tan Xiu respected the old lady from the bottom of his heart. Compared to the rulers of Wuxia, the old lady was the one who protected Wuxia wholeheartedly. For almost 1,000 years, the old lady never left this piece of land, and quietly helped Wuxia solve many crises of extermination. At the same time, she also deterred other countries and forces from coveting Wuxia. You're too kind, fellow Taoist Tang. It's fate that brought me together with Zhongling and the other girls. They also solved many of my doubts in cultivation. If we're talking about gratitude, I should be the one thanking you, fellow Taoist Tang. The old lady did not show any special emotion, and replied calmly. Tang Xiu couldn't help but stare blankly. When he ascended to the immortal world in the past, didn't this old woman ask him to take her along with him? How come she was so indifferent to the temptation of ascending to the immortal world after a few decades? Very soon, Tan Xiu found out what was going on. He didn't know what kind of calamity the old woman had gone through, but she didn't have much lifespan left, and her vitality was completely drained. Fellow Taoist, could it be that after I ascended to the immortal world, another extraordinary figure appeared on earth? After figuring out the severe injuries on the old lady, Tan Xiu could not help but ask curiously, fellow Taoist Tang, this old lady is already a person with one foot in the grave. Please don't make fun of this old lady anymore. More than 10 years ago, Miao Wentong and Xiao Mingjin successfully crossed the heavenly tribulation and ascended to immortality. This old lady thought that the difficulty of the heavenly tribulation had decreased, but in the end, this old lady almost died when she crossed the heavenly tribulation 2 years ago. The old lady glared at Tan Xiu as sparks flew from her words. Tan Xiu couldn't help but reveal an awkward expression when he heard the old lady's words. I'm really sorry. Back then, I ascended to the immortal world because I was in a hurry to take revenge. I was afraid that you would be tainted by the heavenly Tao if we ascended together, so I had no choice but to reject you. In order to express my apology, please accept this small token of my appreciation. As Tan Xiu spoke, he pointed a finger at the old lady in the void. Facing Tan Xiu's finger, the old lady felt as though she was frozen in place and couldn't move at all. Rays of green light gushed out from Tan Xiu's finger and quickly entered the old lady's body. As the green light surged into the old lady's body, her injuries were almost instantly healed. Her vitality was also increasing rapidly. In the end, the old lady's appearance became younger at a speed that could be seen with the naked eye. After the time for half an incense stick to burn, Tan Xiu retracted his finger. Fine beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. This was because Tan Xiu had just forcefully extracted the vitality of the heaven and earth tree in his body for the old lady to use. He felt that this moving old lady was worthy of him doing this. This old lady is unable to repay fellow Taoist Tang's great kindness. If fellow Taoist Tang doesn't mind, this old lady is willing to do anything for fellow Taoist Tang. Feeling the earth-shattering changes in her body, the old lady was shocked by Tan Xiu's remarkable power. At the same time, she was extremely touched. Fellow Taoist Li, you've cultivated on earth for thousands of years. Have you noticed anything strange on earth? For example, many things that originally belonged to the immortal world and the god world inexplicably appeared on earth. Tan Xiu smiled at the old lady. indicating that she did not need to pay too much attention to it. After the old lady calmed down, he asked softly. Now that fellow Taoist Tang mentioned it, this old lady really did notice a lot of abnormalities. Even though this old lady's strength can be considered as the number one person on earth, there are many things that this old lady can't see through at all. I don't dare to get close to it. The old lady did not know what Tan Xiu was trying to say. If I told you that Earth wasn't originally like this and was once the God world, but because of an unprecedented war, it became what it is today, would you believe me? Tan Xiu stared at the old lady and said word by word. What? How is that possible? The old lady was stunned when she heard this and immediately retorted subconsciously. However, she slowly fell into contemplation. After a long while, she said in silence, if Earth really used to be the God world, then this old lady's encounter in the Ghost King Valley in the Divine Dragon Ridge can be explained. Fellow Taoist Li, I have a presumptuous request. If it's convenient for fellow Taoist Li, I would like to ask fellow Taoist Li to stay on Earth for a period of time to help me investigate all the abnormal places on Earth. As long as fellow Taoist Li can provide me with valuable information, I will definitely give fellow Taoist Li a generous reward. Tan Xiu's eyes lit up when he heard that the old lady also knew about the Ghost King Valley. Fellow Taoist Tang, this old lady has cultivated on Earth for thousands of years, and has developed a deep affection for this land. After failing to cross the tribulation last time, I no longer have the thought of ascending to the immortal world. Now that this life of mine has been saved by fellow Taoist Tang, since fellow Taoist Tang has a use for this old lady will naturally do her best. As for the reward, fellow Taoist Tang doesn't need to mention it. The old lady laughed heartily. After getting the promise of the old lady, Tan Xiu subconsciously heaved a sigh of relief. Star City, Old River Street, Shantytown, Su family's restaurant. Although the sky was just beginning to brighten, there was a long queue outside the restaurant, waiting for it to open. After a few decades of development, Star City had changed with each passing day. The Old River Street had already been reconstructed, and only the Shantytown and the Su family's restaurant had been preserved. Only the outer walls had been renovated, turning it into a unique scenic spot in Star City. Do you guys think that Cheng Yannan will come to Teacher Xiao's 60th birthday? She was Teacher Xiao's favorite student in the past. I heard that Su Xiangfei invited Cheng Yannan, but it's hard to say whether Cheng Yannan will come to the banquet. After all, the Great Tang Empire is a big place, and unexpected events can happen at any time. I saw Cheng Yannan at the National Press Conference yesterday. She looked like a girl in her 20s, and there were no traces of aging on her face. She didn't look like a person in her 40s at all. She looked like a fairy. In the long queue, everyone was whispering to each other, and the focus of the topic was Cheng Yannan. Although Cheng Yannan had awakened her special ability, her cultivation talent was ordinary and she couldn't keep up with the cultivation speed of the Tang sect. Although Tan Xiu was willing to take her along when he ascended to the immortal world, Cheng Yannan tactfully refused. The reason for Cheng Yannan's refusal was very simple. The magnificent Tang Corporation's business was too big, and Long Zhengyu might not be able to handle it. Besides, she couldn't help much after ascending to the immortal world, but she could take good care of the magnificent Tang Corporation if she stayed on Earth, so that Tan Xiu wouldn't have any worries. Tan Xiu and Cheng Xuemei tried to persuade Cheng Yannan several times, but to no avail. At the same time, he handed over almost all of the magnificent Tang Corporation to Cheng Yannan. As for Long Zhengyu, he was responsible for the management of Nine Dragons Island and other industries, and spent more time and energy on cultivation. Southgate Town, Building Number 9. Before Tan Xiu left Earth, he handed over his house in Southgate Town to Cheng Yannan. Cheng Yannan didn't make any changes to the house and moved in. Chief Cheng, Mr. Xia Mingjie's birthday banquet will officially start at 12:10 noon. Do you want to go there now or wait until the banquet officially starts? The tall and beautiful secretary, Daimi, asked softly while helping Cheng Yannan comb her hair. Show me the list of all the members attending the birthday banquet. Cheng Yannan didn't answer Daimi but ordered. Daimi stared blankly for a moment. Then she immediately turned around and walked into the living room. She took an iPad developed by the magnificent Tang Corporation and came in. Her wrist gently swiped and a list updated 3 minutes ago was presented in front of Cheng Yannan. The first name that appeared in front of Cheng Yannan was impressively Xia Mingjie, followed by Wei Zhentai and the other school leaders, as well as the teachers of Xingqing No. 1 High School, and finally, the students that Xia Mingjie had taught in the past decades. There were about 300 people on the list, but Cheng Yannan only knew a few dozen students from Class 10, as well as the school leaders and several teachers. Seeing the names of Wei Zhentai, Hu Qiuxing, and Yang Jian on the list, Cheng Yannan subconsciously frowned. It must be known that Tan Xiu was almost driven out of Xingqing No. 1 High School by these people in the past. If it weren't for the teacher in charge of Class 10, Han Qingwu's strong support, as well as the sudden rise of Tan Xiu's exam results, Cheng Yannan didn't know whether she would have the opportunity to know Tan Xiu and form an unforgettable relationship with him. Cheng Yannan really wanted to call Su Xiangfei and ask him to remove the names of Wei Zhentai, Hu Qiuxing and Yang Jian. But after hesitating for a moment, she dispelled the idea. Decades had passed, so why should she still care about those trivial matters of the past? Xiu, decades have passed. How are you doing in the immortal world? Cheng Yannan repeatedly refreshed the list twice, but still couldn't find the name she wanted to see. Her face couldn't help but reveal a sad but beautiful smile. Xiu, if you give me another chance to choose, I will accompany you to the blue sky and fight in the immortal world. Xiu, it's not that I didn't want to ascend to the immortal world with you, but there were too many devastatingly beautiful women around you. I couldn't find a sense of existence by your side at all. 2 lines of clear tears fell silently. On Cheng Yannan's mature and gorgeous face, there was a faint sadness hidden in her beautiful eyes that could capture people's souls. Chapter 1400. At 7 a.m., Su Xiangfei sleepily walked to the front of the Su family's restaurant. When he saw the dense crowd in front of the restaurant, he thought that he was still asleep and couldn't help but rub his eyes. Su Xiangfei, didn't Teacher Xia repeatedly tell you to open the door earlier last night? Why are you still so late? As Su Xiangfei slowly moved toward the direction of the restaurant, a thunderous voice sounded in Su Xiangfei's ears. Upon hearing this voice, Su Xiangfei's body trembled, and he subconsciously trotted. The one who spoke was the guard of Xingqing No. 1 High School, Zhang Jingdong. He was a retired soldier and a very kind old man who was very liked by the teachers and students of one middle school. However, this old man was meticulous and had strong principles, which made many people sincerely respect him, especially some mischievous students who were in awe of Zhang Jingdong from the bottom of their hearts. Uncle Zhang, our restaurant usually opens at 9 a.m. I came early enough today, but I didn't expect that you would come earlier than me. Su Xiangfei spoke as he quickly opened the door. Zhang Jingdong dared to yell at Su Xiangfei, but the others standing at the entrance of the restaurant didn't dare. They greeted Su Xiangfei with respect and flattery in their tone. It must be known that the magnificent Tang Corporation had become one of the top 10 multinational corporations in the world. On the surface, the Su family's restaurant had nothing to do with the magnificent Tang Corporation. In fact, everyone knew that the Su family's restaurant was founded by Su Lingyun, and Su Xiangfei was her nephew. With the relationship between Su Xiangfei and the magnificent Tang Corporation, it was impossible for the Su family's restaurant to not be popular. Perhaps the lesson given by Tan Xiu was too profound. Ever since Su Xiangfei took over the Su family's restaurant, he seemed to have been reborn. Not only was he not as arrogant and domineering as before, but he had also become mature and steady, smooth and slick, and had a good relationship with his circle of friends. After enthusiastically welcoming everyone into the restaurant, Su Xiangfei immediately got busy. It was Xia Mingjie's 60th birthday. His son Xia Tao was a classmate of Su Xiangfei. He wanted to help his father hold a grand birthday banquet, so he looked for Su Xiangfei. When Su Xiangfei heard that it was his master, Xia Mingjie's birthday, he patted his chest and said that he would take care of it. Then, after asking for the opinions of Xia Mingjie and Xia Tao, he simply informed all the classmates of Class 10 to attend the banquet. It would be a party after the 35th anniversary of graduation. On Xia Mingjie's birthday, the restaurant would not be open to the public. It would only receive the guests attending the birthday banquet, as well as the teachers and classmates of Xingqing No. 1 High School. All the expenses would be paid by Su Xiangfei. Because of Su Xiangfei's great achievements in the past decades, as well as the reputation of the Su family's restaurant in Xingqing No. 1 High School, almost none of the students of Class 10 refused to attend. As for Xia Mingjie's guests, after they heard that the birthday banquet would be held in the Su family's restaurant, they rushed to the hotel early in the morning. It took nearly 2 hours for Su Xiangfei and Xia Tao to arrange all the guests. At this time, both of them were sweating profusely. Xia Tao looked at Su Xiangfei with eyes brimming with gratitude. Xiangfei, I can't thank you enough. If you need my help in the future, please don't hesitate to call me. Xia Tao obviously didn't expect that the scale of the birthday banquet would be so big. If it wasn't for Su Xiangfei, who had been patiently coordinating and dealing with all kinds of emergencies, it was estimated that he would have collapsed. Taozi, you're treating me like an outsider. Your task today is to take good care of teacher Xia. Leave everything else to me. Su Xiangfei wiped the sweat from his forehead and said in a clear voice, Xiangfei, I see that you're looking at the direction of the door from time to time. Are you waiting for Cheng Yannan? Seeing Su Xiangfei's absent-minded appearance, Xia Tao asked. Yes, Chief Cheng arrived in Star City last night. Calculating the time, she should be arriving soon. Su Xiangfei frowned. He couldn't help but directly walk out of the restaurant. Soon, Su Xiangfei's eyes lit up because he saw Cheng Yannan's car. He also saw Cheng Yannan and her personal assistant, Dai Mi's figure. Just as Su Xiangfei ran 2 steps and was ready to greet Cheng Yannan, in the next moment, Su Xiangfei staggered and almost fell to the ground. Because Su Xiangfei was surprised to find that Cheng Yannan, who usually had the image of an iceberg CEO, was as shy as a little girl at this time. She didn't hesitate to throw herself into the arms of another person. Moreover, she was crying like a tearful person. She constantly beat the other's chest while sobbing and saying something. Cousin. When Su Xiangfei clearly saw the man's face, his expression was as though he had seen a ghost. After a long time, he finally greeted him while stuttering. Xiangfei, you did a good job. I was worried that you would destroy the Su family's restaurant. Seeing Su Xiangfei looking at him with a timid face, Tan Xiao smiled and kindly greeted him. Cousin, it's really you. I thought I was hallucinating. I haven't seen you for decades, but you still look the same as before. You haven't changed at all. Seeing that Tang Xiao didn't loathe him, Su Xiangfei's heart that was hanging in suspense was finally relieved as a happy smile appeared on his face. There are too many people in the restaurant, and Yannan can't meet people like this. We won't go in. If you need anything, you can call Yannan. Seeing a few people in the restaurant shouting Su Xiangfei's name and coming out, Tan Xiao stuffed 2 red envelopes to Su Xiangfei, and then hugged Cheng Yannan and got into the car. When Su Shangwen, Zhang Meiyin, and Xia Tao walked to the door of the restaurant, they only saw the backs of Tan Xiao and Cheng Yannan. Fei, is that Cheng Yannan? She came. Why didn't she go in and sit for a while? Zhang Meiyin stared at the Mercedes-Benz commercial car for a moment, and asked with uncertainty. Well, it's cousin and Cheng Yannan. There are too many people in the restaurant, and it's not convenient for them to show up, so they left after giving me the gift. Su Xiangfei absent-mindedly handed the red envelope to Xia Tao and whispered, Didn't Cheng Yannan specially come to attend teacher Xia's birthday banquet? Why is it inconvenient? Su Shangwen subconsciously asked, but after saying this sentence he suddenly came back to his senses. Who did you say came with Cheng Yannan? Cheng Yannan's cousin? Not Cheng Yannan's cousin, it's my cousin, your nephew, Tan Xiao. Su Xiangfei looked at his father's bewildered expression and patiently explained. It's him. Didn't Tan Xiao already go to heaven? Why did he come back? He's back. Why didn't he come over to greet us? After the speculation in his heart was confirmed, Su Shangwen's heart was set off a storm, and his face was filled with a look of disbelief. Although other people didn't know where the Tang family of the imperial capital led by Tan Xiao went, some people who were close to Tan Xiao knew that Tan Xiao was not an ordinary person, but a successful cultivator. They collectively ascended to the immortal world decades ago. Su Shangwen originally thought that after Tan Xiao and the others ascended, they would never be able to return to Earth. This was also the reason why he didn't guess that Tan Xiao was Tan Xiao, even though he felt that the figure of Tan Xiao was familiar. Dad, Cousin is not the same kind of person as us. His purpose of coming here is probably to see if the Su family restaurant is still there, and at the same time, he wants to take Qing Yannan to that place. Thinking of Tan Xiu's elegant temperament, Su Xiangfei felt discouraged. Although Tan Xiu had taught Su Xiangfei the cultivation method, so that Su Xiangfei's skills were extraordinary and far beyond ordinary people, but because Tan Xiu didn't give Su Xiangfei cultivation resources, it was destined that Su Xiangfei would never be able to open the door to the immortal world without a special opportunity. Haha, Tan Xiu actually came here. My dad must be very happy to hear that. Xia Tao spent a long time before he could understand what Su Xiangwen and Su Xiangfei were talking about. After he saw the blessings on the 2 red envelopes, his face was filled with excitement as he took the red envelopes and ran towards the restaurant's lobby. Back then, our family offended Su Lingyun and Tang Xiu too much. Yet, they disregarded our former enmity and rescued us from prison. They even gave us the restaurant, and gave us a life of wealth and glory. What else can we not be satisfied with? Xiu doesn't want to see us. He must still have a knot in his heart. We should run the restaurant well, and take good care of our relatives in the Su family village. I think Xiu will forgive us one day. Thinking of the past, Zhang Meiyan also blushed. Zhang Meiyan was right. Although Su Lingyun was kind-hearted and had long forgiven Su Shangwen's family, and got along well with Su Shangwen's family, Tan Xiu couldn't do it. This was also the reason why Tan Xiu immediately avoided Su Shangwen and Zhang Meiyan when he saw them. In fact, Tan Xiu had been in the restaurant for half a day. The bustling scene in the restaurant early in the morning startled him. After figuring out what was going on, he wanted to go to the restaurant and greet his former teachers and classmates. However, Tan Xiu eventually dispelled this idea in his heart. After all, he didn't belong to this world anymore. There was no need for him to get involved with the karma of the heavens. As long as his teachers and classmates were happy, he didn't need to disturb their peaceful lives. As for being discovered by Qing Yannan, it was completely by chance. Tan Xiu was standing in a very hidden position, and had cast a camouflage spell. It was absolutely impossible for ordinary people to discover his existence. However, Qing Yannan was not an ordinary person. Not only did she awaken her special ability, but she also trained in 9 Dragons Island. All these years, Long Zhengyu had spared no effort to support Qing Yannan in terms of cultivation resources, so much so that Qing Yannan had already become an immortal cultivator at the early stage of crossing tribulation. Others might not be able to discover this anomaly, but Qing Yannan could easily find it. When Tan Xiu found that Qing Yannan was looking at him with a burning gaze and couldn't hide the longing expression on her face, he wanted to avoid it. But in the end, he didn't and let Qing Yannan throw herself into his arms. Tan Xiu, you're not allowed to leave me alone this time. No matter where you go, I'll follow you. I've made sufficient preparations all these years. Sujinin has been trained by me. She can definitely take over the management of the magnificent Tang Corporation. After getting into the car, Qing Yannan couldn't wait to express her feelings to Tan Xiu. Tang Xiu's heart was filled with warmth as he felt the burning hot feelings of the beautiful woman in his arms. He didn't say anything but gently lowered his head and kissed the beautiful woman's tender lips. Chapter 1401. After a few moments of affection, Tang Xiu was escorted by Qing Yannan to the plane to Shanghai. As a matter of fact, Tan Xiu had always been aware of the special feelings Qing Yannan had for him, and he also appreciated and liked Qing Yannan from the bottom of his heart. Previously, he was busy returning to the immortal world to take revenge and was obsessed with cultivation. So Tan Xiu never took the initiative to pursue a girl, so he brushed past the reserved Qing Yannan. Now that the pressure of the blood feud was gone, and the beauty took the initiative to embrace him, Tan Xiu naturally couldn't bear to refuse the beauty's good intentions. After getting a response from Tan Xiu, Qing Yannan was ecstatic. She couldn't wait to pester Tan Xiu every day, but she knew that Tan Xiu was telling the truth. If the feelings between the two could last for a long time, how could they stay together day and night? Tan Xiu wouldn't stay on Earth for a long time, so she must deal with all the matters of the magnificent Tang Corporation before Tan Xiu left Earth. Only then could she leave with Tan Xiu with peace of mind. After watching Qing Yannan's flight take off, Tanxiu turned around and left. After looking for a remote place where no one would pay attention to, Tanxiu's spiritual sense moved, and his figure disappeared from the spot. In the next moment, Tanxiu appeared in a dungeon in Changxi, Laoshan Mountain. In the dark and damp dungeon, a thin figure shivered and curled up in the corner of the dungeon. One could vaguely recognize that it was a man from his attire. The man with unkempt hair and a dirty face was gently sliding a wooden stick on the ground, and the soft and beautiful lines outlined two women, one big and one small. The man murmured softly while painting on the ground. His voice was almost inaudible. "Don't leave me, Ran Ran. Roar Dad misses you. Ran Ran, don't leave me. Roar Dad misses you." If it was a normal person, they would only think that the man's mouth was making a series of meaningless sleep-talking sounds. But when these sounds fell into Tanxiu's ears, it was like rolling thunder, causing his eyes to involuntarily moisten. This disheveled man was the former young master of the Ji family in Changxi, Ji Mu. Tanxiu didn't have many interactions with Ji Mu, but he had a very good impression of Ji Mu. Scenes of his dealings with Ji Mu emerged in Tanxiu's mind. That year, he and Qi Nam participated in Changxi's underground car race and met Ji Mu for the first time. That year, Ji Mu inadvertently witnessed him killing several experts of the Stygian Club and sent him generous gifts and asked for advice. That year, Ji Mu decided to give up his identity as the young master of an aristocratic family, cut off all means of retreat, and wholeheartedly pursued the Tao. He gave the ancestral life-returning wood to Meng Qi, and Meng Qi gave him a fortuitous encounter. That year, Ran Ran proposed to Ji Mu in public, but he refused because he was afraid that it would delay his cultivation. Later on, Meng Qi persuaded him to accept Ran Ran's pursuit. From the beginning to the end, Tanxiu didn't spend too much time and energy on Ji Mu. He was so busy setting up the Tang sex intelligence system that he couldn't even attend Ji Mu's wedding. He only met Ji Mu once before he ascended to the immortal world. The next time he heard news about Ji Mu was from Miao Wentong and Xiao Mingjin in the immortal world. Ji Mu's daughter was harmed by people from the Special Abilities Bureau. Ji Mu was also severely injured by the Special Abilities Bureau. Ran Ran committed suicide after her daughter was harmed, and her husband was seriously injured, so she got some explosives and perished together with the people who injured Ji Mu. Ji Mu then went crazy and disappeared. Long Zhengyu and the others sent people everywhere to search for him, but to no avail. If Tanxiu hadn't completely mastered the heavenly Tao laws on earth and formed a lot of heavenly Tao karma with Ji Mu, Tanxiu would never have imagined that Ji Mu would be imprisoned in his own territory. Seeing Ji Mu's shattered dantian, pierced shoulder blade, and the heavy chains on his feet, Tanxiu's body suddenly gushed out an astonishing murderous aura. Tanxiu waved his hand and took Ji Mu into his internal space. Then, he took out a jar of water from the Yin-Yang Divinity Lake that was hundreds of times diluted and soaked Ji Mu in it. He also dropped a few drops of the Heavenly Path Universe Tree's essence into the water. Ji Mu, I said that I would give you a fortune, but it was just to teach you the secret arts of your Ji clan. The fortune I gave you is completely out of proportion to the gift you gave me. Now, I'm going to give you a big fortune. While speaking, Tanxiu put a finger on Ji Mu's forehead. Not only did he force his understanding of the Ji clan's secret arts into Ji Mu's mind, but he also didn't hesitate to consume his divine power to impart several secret arts of the immortal world to Ji Mu. Ji Mu, who was soaking in the water of the Yin-Yang Divinity Lake, uttered a painful howl. His skin cracked inch by inch, and his flesh and blood peeled off bit by bit. In the end, only his skeleton was left. The energy in the water of the Yin-Yang Divinity Lake was extremely violent. Even a perfected golden immortal couldn't withstand the impact of the lake water, let alone Ji Mu, who was just a mortal at this time. If it weren't for Tanxiu using his divine power to keep Ji Mu's soul clear, Ji Mu would have long turned into a skeleton under the impact of the lake water's energy. Under the impact and immersion of the lake water, Ji Mu's heart finally turned from dark red to bright red at a speed visible to the naked eye. Ji Mu's heart gradually turned from dark red to bright red at a speed visible to the naked eye. Finally, it faintly emitted a golden light. Ji Mu's skeleton, on the other hand, gradually turned from ash gray to white, then transparent, and finally emitted a metallic luster. What was more remarkable was that Jimu's soul flame had become nearly 1,000 times stronger. Jimu's soul flame was originally only the size of a needle's eye, but now it had become the size of a baby's fist, vaguely showing the embryonic form of the divine transformation realm. When the lake water in the vat turned transparent bit by bit, flesh and blood regrew on Jimu's skeleton that emitted a metallic luster. However, this flesh and blood was full of spiritual chi and infinite vitality. It was a world of difference from the flesh and blood that was washed away by the lake water. When Jimu regained consciousness again, it was already 3 days later. The first thing Jimu saw when he opened his eyes was Tanxiu. His lips wriggled a bit, but he didn't know how to address him. Tanxiu glanced at Jimu and said with a complicated look in his eyes, "I already know everything about you. I've given you a good fortune. Take your time to digest it. Tell me your decision after you've digested it." While speaking, Tanxiu's figure slowly disappeared from the sky, leaving behind a dumbfounded Jimu. Soon, Jimu had no time to care about anything else. The hereditary memories in his mind came alive like a tide. Ran, ro air. I must avenge you and then spend my whole life to save you. Half a month later, when Jimu had completely mastered the hereditary memories from Tanxiu, his heart was filled with lofty ambitions. At the same time, he also felt sorrow and cried bitterly. Upon hearing Jimu's words, Tanxiu's figure once again condensed in the air. He looked at Jimu with eyes full of admiration. It only took Jimu half a month to completely digest all the Ji clans and Immortal World's supreme arts, and his cultivation had also stabilized at the perfected soul formation stage. Although he had invested quite a lot in Jimu's cultivation aptitude and perception did not disappoint Tanxiu. Master, disciple Jimu pays respect to Master. Thank Master for saving my life and giving me a new lease of life. After seeing Tanxiu's figure, Jimu's heart was filled with happiness as he knelt in front of Tanxiu. Tanxiu slightly frowned upon seeing this, but he couldn't help but sigh in the end. He didn't refuse Jimu's greeting. "Jimu, since you've taken me as your master, then I'll accept your karma. Do you want to eradicate the entire Special Abilities Bureau, or just a certain faction in it?" Recalling the disaster that happened to Jimu, Tanxiu asked in a deep voice. "Master, the entire Special Abilities Bureau has decayed from top to bottom. It's no longer a sharp weapon of the nation, but a bunch of arrogant, domineering, and evil bastards. Especially Duan Mulin. He left the Special Abilities Bureau on the surface and pretended to feel guilty to you by successfully entering the pocket world controlled by Long Zhengyu to cultivate. But in fact, he's still the supreme controller of the Special Abilities Bureau and obtained a lot of cultivation resources by getting close to us. He's also the one who imprisoned me here." Upon hearing the word Special Abilities Bureau, Jimu's eyes instantly flared up and he loudly complained with righteous indignation. "What did you say? Duan Mulin is still the supreme controller of the Special Abilities Bureau?" Tanxiu was stunned when he heard Jimu's words. During this half a month, Tanxiu didn't stay by Jimu's side to guard him. Instead, he arranged layers of protective arrays around Jimu and then began to travel around the world, secretly visiting all his relatives and friends. He visited several major families in the imperial capital, the Ouyang family in Hong Kong, and several major families in Guangdong province. Seeing that all his relatives and friends were living a good life, Tanxiu didn't show up to disturb their peaceful lives and left quietly. Tanxiu paid special attention to the Great Tang Empire, which was led by Long Zhengyu. Before Tanxiu left Earth, he handed over almost all the resources except for the magnificent Tang Corporation to Long Zhengyu. He also entrusted all his relatives and friends to Long Zhengyu. So the development of the Long family directly determined the situation of Tanxiu's relatives and friends. Tanxiu was particularly satisfied with the Great Tang Empire, which was led by Long Zhengyu. Not only had Long Zhengyu reached the perfected crossing tribulation stage, but Li Laozhan had also reached the Great Ascension stage. Yu Kai Hu Qingsong and Zhao Liang had also reached the Spirit Formation stage. All of them stood at the pinnacle of Earth and could sweep the entire Earth if they joined forces. What surprised Tanxiu the most was none other than Duan Mulin. When Tanxiu crossed his tribulation and ascended to the immortal world, He faintly remembered that Duanmu Lin's cultivation had barely reached the golden core stage. He didn't expect that Duanmu Lin's cultivation would actually reach the Great Ascension stage after more than 30 years. The speed of his cultivation advancement was just like riding a rocket, which shocked Long Zhengyu and the others. Due to Duanmu Lin's identity, Long Zhengyu and the others were wary of Duanmu Lin at first, fearing that he was a spy who had infiltrated the Great Tang Empire. But after witnessing Duanmu Lin kill several groups of people from the Special Abilities Bureau without hesitation, they completely let down their guard against him. "Why did Duanmu Lin imprison you?" Tan Xiu asked with a solemn expression. "Because I obtained a divine stone. When I was about to refine the divine stone to enhance my cultivation, the Special Abilities Bureau's people suddenly appeared. Duanmu Lin was among them. Duanmu Lin immediately killed everyone from the Special Abilities Bureau. He originally wanted to kill me to silence me, but he felt that I had obtained other opportunities in addition to the divine stone. Therefore, he imprisoned me and interrogated me from time to time." Jimu gnashed his teeth and asked, "That's right." Chapter 1402. A Divine Stone? Tan Xiu asked curiously. "What's so special about that stone? Why did you call it a divine stone? And how did Duanmu Lin know that you obtained it so quickly?" 20 years ago, our Great Tang Empire accidentally discovered a heavenly paradise that seemed to be the residence of a perfected golden immortal. The Great Tang Empire found many treasures inside, the most precious of which were 3 elixirs that were consumed by Miao Wentong, Xiao Mingjin, and Long Zhengyu. Apart from the elixirs, we also found some cultivation techniques, immortal artifacts, and letters. After the Great Tang Empire distributed all the treasures, they felt that the letters had no research value, so they casually threw them in a corner. I felt that the things recorded by a perfected golden immortal wouldn't be simple, so I asked for the letters to study. In the letters, the perfected golden immortal mentioned the world core. He also said that he broke the barrier between the immortal world and Earth in order to find the world core. Unfortunately, he was seriously injured after passing through the barrier, which greatly reduced his mobility. After I reported the matter of the world core to Long Zhengyu, the Great Tang Empire immediately sent people to search for the world core according to the clues left by the perfected golden immortal. However, there were no results. Long Zhengyu felt that it was impossible for a group of ordinary people like us to find something that even a perfected golden immortal couldn't find. So he slowly stopped searching for it. Only I persisted. Because of the huge change in my family, the people of the Great Tang Empire and the Special Ability Team thought that I had gone mad. However, I didn't expect that the Special Ability Team would never give up on monitoring and tracking me. Seeing that Tan Xiu was interested in the Divine Stone, Jimu's spirit was lifted and he quickly explained the origin of the Divine Stone in detail. After listening to Jimu's narration, Tan Xiu could almost confirm that the Divine Stone that Jimu mentioned was the World Core, the #1 divine object in the immortal world. The World Core was the core of the immortal world, located in the most mysterious illusory realm of nothingness. Several eras ago, a supreme expert returned from the God world and borrowed the energy of the World Core to expand the immortal world by several million times. After that, the World Core disappeared. Tang Xiu never expected that the next time he heard of the World Core, it would actually be on Earth. However, after recalling that Earth was once the ancestral planet of the God realm, Tan Xiu felt relieved. The heart of the world isn't something that ordinary people can refine. Ordinary people can only use the heart of the world to increase their cultivation speed. In order to refine the heart of the world, one must become a true god and possess divine power. Glancing at the indignant Jimu, Tan Xiu patiently explained, "You should be glad that Duanmu Lin isn't able to refine the world core. Otherwise, I reckon that you would have been killed by him since you no longer have any value to him." Only a god realm can refine the world core. Then what is the true use of the world core? While Jimu's face was filled with shock, he also felt a lingering fear in his heart. The world core is the core of the immortal world. If you control the world core, you can become the master of the immortal world and control the life and death of the immortal world. Tan Xiu said, word by word. After learning about the origin of the world core, Jimu couldn't help but exclaim. Although he already knew that the world core was unusual, he never thought that it would have such a great origin. Jimu, you should be familiar with your newly acquired power now. Next, you can go on a killing spree. I only have one request: don't hurt the innocent. Also, tell me the birthdays of your wife and daughter. Tan Xiu said in a clear voice after pondering for a moment. Thank you for your help, Master. I'll only kill those who deserve to be killed, and will never hurt the innocent. After hearing that Tan Xiu allowed him to take revenge, Jimu's eyes instantly lit up. He told Tan Xiu the birthdays of his wife and daughter, and then left in a hurry. Tan Xiu silently read Ran and Jiro's birthdays. In the next moment, his figure had already arrived at the Longquan Mountain in the west, and quietly entered the pocket world. Outside the pocket world, hundreds of Tang sect's disciples were patrolling in an orderly manner, completely unaware of Tan Xiu's arrival. After entering the pocket world, Tan Xiu couldn't help but furrow his brows because he faintly smelled the smell of blood. Fierce fighting sounds also came from the depths of the pocket world. Is Long Zhengyu and the others hunting the demonic beasts in the pocket world to temper their strength? Or did something happen to them? Tan Xiu performed a teleportation and quickly dashed toward the direction of the fighting sounds. In the depths of the pocket world, Long Zhengyu was bathed in blood and looked battered and exhausted. His face was full of grief and indignation, and his heart was filled with endless regret. Facing the siege of 5 perfected Great Ascension stage demonic beasts, Long Zhengyu was stretched thin and overwhelmed. But when he saw the Tang sect's disciples dying tragically in the mouths of the demonic beasts, he had no choice but to overdraw his life potential again, and again to kill the 5 demonic beasts that weren't at the Great Ascension stage. TSK. Your selfless and selfless spirit is really touching, Long Zhengyu. But you can't even protect yourself now, so do you think you can save the lives of these Tang sect's disciples? A few hundred meters away from the battlefield, Duan Mulin leisurely drove away the demonic beasts that approached him and ridiculed loudly. Scram! Long Zhengyu cursed in response to Duan Mulin. Instead of dying here, Long Zhengyu, you might as well give me all the medicinal pills, array manuals, alchemy manuals, and refining manuals that Tan Xiu gave you before he left. At the same time, hand over the shares of the magnificent Tang Corporation, the Longquan Mountain Pocket World, and the control of 9 Dragons Island to me. That way, I can spare the lives of your Tang sect's disciples. Else, I'll kill all your Tang sect's disciples one by one after I kill you. And those things will still belong to me in the end. Duan Mulin didn't get angry after being spat on by Long Zhengyu, but calmly persuaded him. I'm really blind, Duan Mulin. I can't believe I brought you into this pocket world. Kill me and all the Tang sect's disciples if you have the ability. I'd like to see how you can control this pocket world. After Long Zhengyu sent a demonic beast flying, he looked at Duan Mulin with eyes full of disgust. Duan Mulin couldn't help but frown after seeing Long Zhengyu's stubbornness. Duan Mulin had always longed for formidable power, and he began to plan to take control of this pocket world after he learned that the Longquan Mountain Pocket World had inexhaustible cultivation resources. However, Tan Xiu's strength was far beyond his imagination, and he was also on guard against him, which made Duan Mulin feel powerless and powerless. After Tan Xiu ascended, Duan Mulin began to think about the pocket world again. Being cautious by nature, he didn't directly attack the Tang sect's disciples, but paid a huge price to invite other cultivator forces to deal with them together. Seeing that the Tang sect's disciples, led by Long Zhengyu, were retreating in defeat and the pocket world was about to fall into his hands, Miao Wentong and Xiao Mingzhen descended from the sky and swept away those cultivator forces in an invincible manner. Later on, these 2 people simply stayed in the Tang sect and didn't leave. This made Duan Mulin feel a lingering fear, and he no longer dared to seize the pocket world by force. After thinking about it for a while, Duan Mulin simply announced his withdrawal from the Special Ability Group and solved many troubles for the magnificent Tang Corporation and the Tang sect, slowly winning the favor of the company and Tang sect's disciples. Although Tan Xiu had told Long Zhengyu to beware of Duan Mulin before he left, Long Zhengyu gradually accepted Duan Mulin under Duan Mulin's painstaking efforts for more than a decade. Even Miao Wentong and Xiao Mingjin didn't have any objection against Duan Mulin. Just like that, Duan Mulin stepped into the core management of the Tang sect step by step, and enjoyed more and more cultivation resources. Unfortunately, Duan Mulin had no way to intervene in the distribution of the core resources and the management authority of the pocket world, which made him very dissatisfied. However, with Miao Wentong and Xiao Mingjin in the pocket world, Duan Mulin didn't dare to make any unusual moves. Not only did these two people have the strength to sweep the entire earth, but they also had a pair of fiery and golden eyes. Even if Duan Mulin didn't show any disloyalty, Miao Wentong and Xiao Mingjin still suspected him. It wasn't until Miao Wentong and Xiao Mingjin ascended that Duan Mulin began to carry out his plan again. He bribed the Tang sect's people, and then made Long Jingyu a mere figurehead. Half a month ago, he successfully added the latest biological potion developed in the secret base in the Taklamakan Desert into Long Jingyu's food. This biological potion was colorless, tasteless, and non-toxic. Its only function was to attract the hatred of demonic beasts. The stronger the demonic beast, the greater the hatred it would attract. Hence, Long Jingyu's tragedy was doomed the moment he took the Tang sect's disciples into the depths of the pocket world to gain experience. Long Jingyu, it's better to live than to die. Even if you're really unafraid of death, you still have to think about your family. As long as you're willing to hand over the management of the pocket world to me, I guarantee that the Long family will flourish as long as I, Duan Mulin, am still alive. How about it? Seeing that Long Jingyu was getting more and more exhausted, Duan Mulin finally tried his best to say, "If you don't know what's good for you, don't blame me for killing you and the Tang sect's disciples and exterminating your Long family for treason. You're shameless." Upon hearing Duan Mulin's words, the exhausted Long Jingyu instantly fell to the ground, and his eyes almost popped out of their sockets as he glared at Duan Mulin and berated in a stern voice, "Duan Mulin, you're so despicable and ungrateful. You'll die a graveless death in the future." "Really? But I'm not the one who's going to die now. It's you." Duan Mulin looked at Long Jingyu's desperate look, and a ferocious expression flashed on his face. "I'll give you 10 breaths to think about it. If you're still stubborn, don't blame this old man for being ruthless. He doesn't need to think about it. You, on the other hand, have to think about how to save your dog life." Right when Duan Mulin was glaring at Long Jingyu with a gloomy expression and a ferocious glint in his eyes, a voice that sounded like muffled thunder suddenly resounded in his ears. It shook his eardrums to the point of intense pain, and his 7 souls and 6 spirits were almost scattered. On the contrary, this voice was like the sound of nature to Long Jingyu. He looked behind Duan Mulin with a pleasantly surprised face, and then fainted. Chapter 1403. The moment Long Jingyu fell to the ground, the 5 demon beasts, who originally had the upper hand, instantly drowned him. Seeing that Long Jingyu was about to be devoured by the demon beasts, the Tang sect disciples, who were struggling to resist the horde of demon beasts, couldn't help but cry out in alarm with despair in their eyes. In the next moment, the 5 demon beasts at the peak of the Great Ascension stage disappeared into thin air like phantoms as if they had never appeared before. Along with the disappearance of the 5 demon beasts, the demon beasts that had been wreaking havoc on the Tang sect's trial disciples were also gone. After returning from the gates of hell, the Tang sect disciples still had lingering fears and couldn't help but look around, trying to figure out how they managed to survive. Then they discovered Tan Xiu's arrival. After greeting Tan Xiu excitedly, they sat cross-legged under Tan Xiu's beckoning and adjusted their breathing. "Duan Mulin, who gave you the courage to covet my great Tang Empire?" After getting rid of the demon beasts and appeasing the Tang sect disciples, Tan Xiu turned to Duan Mulin and asked in a stern voice. It wasn't that Duan Mulin didn't think about escaping when Tan Xiu greeted the Tang sect disciples, but he knew very well that given Tan Xiu's character, he would still face Tan Xiu's pursuit even if he escaped from the pocket world. So he might as well fight Tan Xiu directly. "Tan Xiu, you keep talking about the great Tang Empire. Do you even have a country in your heart?" Duan Mulin calmed down and questioned Tan Xiu loudly. "You're too childish, Duan Mulin. I think you know better than me how much I've done for the country. If I didn't have my country in my heart, do you think my country would be so prosperous now? Whether it's science, technology, culture, or economy, it leads the world and becomes the strongest country in the world. Tan Xiu looked at Duan Mulin mockingly, as if he was looking at an idiot. Tan Xiu, the benefits you've given to the nation are nothing more than the dregs that have slipped through the cracks of your fingers. Most of the nation's resources have been occupied by your Great Tang Empire. Now that your Great Tang Empire has a powerful army, you can pose a huge threat to the nation at any time. Just this point alone is enough for you to die 1,000 times. Duan Mulin was thoroughly angered by Tan Xiu's gaze, and he loudly denounced him with righteous indignation. Since you insist on twisting words and forcing logic, there's no need for me to continue reasoning with you. Upon hearing Duan Mulin's righteous words, Tan Xiu felt disgusted from the bottom of his heart. He sighed and then clenched his hand, causing a stone that emitted a rainbow-colored radiance to fly out from Duan Mulin's body and fall steadily into Tan Xiu's palm. Duan Mulin was pleased with himself when he saw that Tan Xiu had nothing to say. Suddenly, he saw that the world core from his storage ring had unexpectedly appeared in Tan Xiu's palm. His expression changed greatly, and he couldn't utter a single word of the speech he had prepared in his mind for a long time. It must be known that a storage ring with an owner couldn't be opened by anyone other than the owner unless the owner died, and the soul imprint on the storage ring was erased. Only then could the storage ring be opened by others. However, he was still alive and well, and the soul imprint on the storage ring hadn't moved at all. Yet, the most precious world core he had hidden in the storage ring had been snatched away by Tan Xiu. This caused Duan Mulin to feel nervous about losing the world core. At the same time, he also felt an indescribable fear towards Tan Xiu's strength. What made Duan Mulin even more afraid was that, aside from Ji Mu, he was the only one who knew about the existence of the world core. After seeing him, Tan Xiu had taken away the world core from his storage ring without saying a word. Did this mean that Tan Xiu already knew about what he had done to Ji Mu? Duan Mulin, do you still want to continue acting? Seeing Duan Mulin nervously looking at him and the fluctuating expression on his face, Tan Xiu couldn't help but reveal a mocking smile. Aren't you tired of dressing yourself up so righteously all day long? Ji Mu has already told me everything about you. Moreover, there are no outsiders here, so there's no need for you to continue acting. Give it back to me. Give me back the world core. Duan Mulin was originally struggling to decide whether he should continue acting with Tan Xiu or directly fall out with him. However, after hearing Tan Xiu's words, he instantly made a decision in his heart and spoke to Tan Xiu with a ferocious expression on his face. As Duan Mulin spoke, he raised his palm, and a golden long tube aimed at Tan Xiu. Tan Xiu, this is the energy cannon that the secret base in the Taklamakan Desert has spent over 30 years to develop. Just one shot from it can destroy an entire pocket world. If you don't want to die, you'd better return the world core to me. As long as I return the world core to you, you'll be willing to let me go. Feeling the destructive energy contained in the energy cannon, Tan Xiu's eyes filled with worry as he asked with a solemn expression. The world core was originally mine, so you should return it to me. Also, you need to give me your storage ring as well as all the funds and resources of the Great Tang Empire. Otherwise, not only will you die here, but the Great Tang Empire will also be annihilated. Duan Mulin laughed loudly when he saw the fear on Tan Xiu's face. Speaking of which, I should be the one thanking you. If you hadn't gifted all the technology from the 3-star vestige to the country, we wouldn't have been able to develop such a world-destroying weapon. Now that our country has such a weapon, the whole world will submit to our country's military force. It's a pity that those two old geezers, Xiao Mingjing and Miao Wentong, ran away too fast. Otherwise, I would have sent those two old geezers a shot. They actually made our Special Abilities Bureau suffer such heavy losses. Tan Xiu, I'm afraid that even in your wildest dreams, you would have never imagined that we would be able to develop an energy cannon with a power comparable to that of an almighty in the immortal world. So what if your cultivation talent is good? So what if your cultivation speed is fast? So what if your strength is strong? I only need one shot to turn you into ashes. Tan Xiu, you've been an eyesore to me for a long time, and I've wanted to destroy your Great Tang Empire for a long time. Because of your existence, our Special Abilities Bureau can't even raise our heads. We can't even find a sense of existence. Your existence has made the country unable to breathe, and your great Tang Empire has become the most unstable factor in the country. All these years after you ascended, the great Tang Empire has almost been above the country. You've always been showing off your superiority in front of the government and swaggering around in front of the Special Abilities Bureau, suppressing us to the point where we couldn't even fight back. But now that the energy cannon has been developed, we will slowly eliminate all of you cultivators. Only the Special Abilities Bureau of China will be left in this world, and we will be the world's law enforcers. Duan Mulin seemed to have been suppressed for too long, so he suddenly stopped hiding and completely exposed his inner world. He became unscrupulous, and a crazy smile appeared on his face. If the heavens wish to annihilate a man, they must first make him go crazy. Tan Xiao sneered and waved his hand. The energy cannon in Duan Mulin's hand disappeared, and in the next moment, Duan Mulin's cultivation, and even his special abilities were completely stripped away. If it was someone else, they might have been frightened by the energy cannon. Even a cultivator at the crossing tribulation stage would have to kneel under the attack of the energy cannon. However, after Tan Xiao became a true god, the 12 jade carvings in his body were suddenly activated, and the heavenly Tao law on earth was completely under his control. Tan Xiao had become an invincible existence on earth. Anything on earth could appear or be destroyed with just a thought from Tan Xiao. This was why Duan Mulin was in such a tragic state. Soon Duan Mulin discovered the abnormality in his body. Duan Mulin was crazily talking about his plan to destroy the world when the energy cannon in his hand disappeared. Duan Mulin was shocked and wanted to take out another energy cannon from his storage ring, but he found that his storage ring could not be opened. It seemed to have become a decorative ring. Then Duan Mulin found that his strength was completely stripped away, and the special ability original core in his body seemed to have disappeared. No, this can't be real. I must be dreaming. When Duan Mulin found that he suddenly seemed to have aged a few decades, and became an ordinary old man, with one foot in the grave, Duan Mulin finally felt afraid. Then Duan Mulin began to try to open the storage ring. Then Duan Mulin began to circulate the true inner force in his body. Finally, Duan Mulin began to use his special ability. He tried again and again and failed again and again. After half an hour, Duan Mulin looked as if he had been fished out of the water. His whole body was soaked, and his face was pale. During the whole process, Tan Xiao didn't say a word and just quietly watched Duan Mulin's desperate struggle with eyes full of ridicule. The Tang sect's disciples were scared by Duan Mulin's energy cannon, and Duan Mulin's crazy words made them tremble with fear and trepidation. However, after witnessing the dramatic changes in Duan Mulin's body, the Tang sect's disciples couldn't help but be ecstatic. While they despised Duan Mulin, they also looked at Tan Xiao with eyes full of passion and madness. Although the Tang sect's disciples didn't know how Tan Xiao did it, they were sure that all the changes in Duan Mulin's body were caused by Tan Xiao. Heavenly Emperor, I was wrong. I shouldn't have attacked Ji Mu. I shouldn't have set my eyes on the great Tang Empire. I beg you to return my cultivation to me. I'll do anything for you and be loyal to the great Tang Empire forever. Heavenly Emperor, the Empire now trusts and relies on me very much. As long as you're willing to let me go, I can find a way to make all the people of the great Tang Empire enter politics, and make the entire country belong to the great Tang Empire. When Duan Mulin realized that all his efforts and struggles were futile, he instantly realized the crux of the problem. He kowtowed to Tan Xiao without hesitation and begged Tan Xiao while weeping bitterly. I'm sorry, but the great Tang Empire doesn't need someone with wild ambitions like you. I don't think the Empire needs someone like you who is disloyal, unrighteous, and unfilial. I once gave you a chance, but unfortunately, you didn't grasp it well. Tan Xiao sighed softly, and then pointed his finger at Duan Mulin. A look of extreme pain flashed in Duan Mulin's eyes when he heard this. He wanted to continue his friendship with Tan Xiao and try to save his life, but he saw Tan Xiao's finger pointing at him. Then he couldn't say anything and the whole world fell into darkness. Chapter 1404. At the same time that Tan Xiao killed Duan Mulin, Ji Mu also wiped out the Special Abilities Bureau in Changxi City. After Duan Mulin resigned from the Special Abilities Bureau, He transferred more than half of his confidence in the imperial capital to Changxi, making Changxi the second ability user command center outside the imperial capital. Duan Mulin had been secretly controlling the Special Abilities Bureau for decades. All the dirty things that Duan Mulin couldn't handle were handled by the people from the Special Abilities Bureau, including tracking Ji Mu, capturing him, interrogating him, and so on. Therefore, there were almost no innocent people in the Special Abilities Bureau. After wiping out all the people from the Special Abilities Bureau, Ji Mu rummaged through the information in the Special Abilities Bureau. He studied the information for a whole day and found all the list of Duan Mulin's confidants. At the same time, he also learned about the Special Abilities Bureau's wild ambition from the analysis of the information. Ji Mu originally planned to wipe out the Special Abilities Bureau and then kill his way to the imperial capital, making the Special Abilities Bureau's people collapse in despair. But when he learned about the Special Abilities Bureau's grand plan, he didn't hesitate to enter the pocket world and handed over all the information he found about the Special Abilities Bureau to Tan Xiao. Duan Mulin sure has guts. After reading the information collected by Ji Mu, Tan Xiao's face turned frosty. I reckon that Duan Mulin's loyalty to the country has always been fake. His true loyalty is to himself. Sigh. I really have to hand it to such a wily old official like Duan Mulin. Aside from Ji Mu, Long Zhengyu was the one who was deceived by Duan Mulin the most. He couldn't help but sigh after reading Duan Mulin's plan. Zhengyu, Ji Mu, gather all the Tang sect's disciples and kill your way to the imperial capital according to this list. I'll go to the imperial capital to meet the elders. Tan Xiao made a decision after pondering for a moment. Long Zhengyu and Ji Mu couldn't help but look excited after hearing it. Before Tang Xiao ascended to the immortal world, he had repeatedly told them not to have any conflict with the country, and to avoid it as much as possible. This made them always have their hands and feet tied when dealing with the country. Even those people from the Special Abilities Bureau didn't put them in their eyes. Now that Tan Xiao suddenly let them deal with the people from the Special Abilities Bureau, they were naturally overjoyed. Tan Xiao met with the Tang sect's disciples one by one, and encouraged them before he teleported to the imperial capital. We have to act quickly. Although the sect master does not fear the country, he has deep feelings for the country. Otherwise, he would not have repeatedly warned us not to have conflicts with the country before he ascended. I reckon that Duan Mulin is the reason why Sect Master ordered us to go on a killing spree in the Special Abilities Bureau. The time Sect Master gave us is limited, so it's impossible for us to keep killing. That would be detrimental to the overall situation. Yes, Master has a strong sense of the overall situation, and he loves the country deeply. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone to the capital to visit those old people. Instead, he would have taken us all the way there. As soon as Tang Xiao left, Long Zhengyu and Ji Mu busied themselves in the back. When the Tang sect's disciples scattered all over the world received the summons, they instantly flared up. In less than half a day, the Tang sect's disciples gathered in more than 40 provincial capitals of the country and formed more than 40 teams. Before the Special Abilities Bureau could react to what was going on, the Tang sect's disciples swept them clean. It was a near-perfect surprise attack, and the Tang sect's disciples won a crushing victory. The Special Abilities Bureau, which had always been arrogant, almost had no power to fight back in front of the powerful Tang sect's disciples. While Long Zhengyu and Ji Mu led the Tang sect's disciples to set off a reign of terror across the country, Tan Xiao had already arrived in the depths of a courtyard halfway up a mountain in the center of the imperial capital. When Tan Xiao suddenly arrived in the courtyard, several old people were drinking tea and talking about some movements in the country. Tan Xiao's appearance startled them. It must be noted that the Tang family used to be China's #1 family, and Tan Xiao was the core of the Tang family. Naturally, these old people knew Tan Xiao and even had a deep impression of Tan Xiao. Others might not know why the Tang family suddenly withdrew from the core of power and disappeared, but these old people were very clear about it. These old people were in awe and gratitude toward the Tang family, which had Tan Xiao as its core. They knew very well that if the Tang family hadn't taken the initiative to withdraw from the core of power, it would have been the Tang family that held the highest power in the country, and not them. Also, If the Tang family hadn't handed over the technology in the 3-star vestige to the country, China wouldn't have become the world's most powerful technological country. Also, if the Tang family hadn't strictly restrained the Tang sect's disciples, the country wouldn't have its current prosperity and stability. The Tang family had given too much to the country, but they had never asked for anything in return from the country. Old masters, I came here this time to give each of you an immortal pill that can let you live for 50 more years. On the other hand, I want you to abolish the Special Abilities Bureau and let the Tang sect's disciples on Earth serve as the country's law enforcers. These Tang sect's disciples will completely obey your orders. What do you think? After watching the old people read all the information Ji Mu had sorted out, he went straight to the point and stated his purpose of coming here. Duan Mulin actually harbors evil intentions. He deserves to be executed. The Special Abilities Bureau is no longer what it was when it was first established. It's now a malignant tumor of the country, and it's time to pull it out. We've received a lot of tip-offs over the years, and also learned about the unscrupulous and evil behavior of the Special Abilities Bureau. But we haven't taken any measures to deal with it for the sake of stability. Since Sect Master Tang proposed it today, we'll do as he said and get rid of the Special Abilities Bureau. As soon as Tan Xiu's voice faded away, the old people unanimously agreed. However, they didn't mention anything about letting the Tang sect's disciples serve as the country's law enforcers. Tan Xiu was aware of the scruples in these old people's hearts. He didn't say anything and just sat down to drink tea with them. At the same time, he told them some interesting stories about the immortal world, which made the old people's hearts itch. Unknowingly, they looked down on the power in the world a lot. Immediately afterward, Tan Xiu demonstrated a set of fist technique to the old people and helped them recuperate their bodies at the same time. Unknowingly, a day had passed. Just as Tan Xiu was about to get up and bid farewell to the old people, a figure suddenly appeared from a dark corner of the courtyard, leaned over, and whispered a few words in the ear of one of the old people. The old man was shocked after hearing the words. He looked at Tan Xiu with an uncertain expression before he finally let out a long sigh. Please stay, Sect Master Tang. We'll agree to your request to let the Tang sect's disciples become the country's law enforcers. With the old man's promise, the purpose of Tan Xiu's trip to the imperial capital was finally achieved. Don't worry, old masters. Although the Tang sect's disciples are very powerful, they're obsessed with cultivation and have no ambition to dominate the country. They'll only stand up to protect the country's security when necessary and won't fight for power and profit like the Special Abilities Bureau. If the country doesn't encounter any danger, I ask old masters not to use the Tang sect's disciples as much as possible. Just leave some trivial matters to the corresponding functional departments. Tan Xiu smiled and then floated away. Watching Tan Xiu's departing figure, the old people exchanged glances and smiled. When he returned to the pocket world in the Longquan Mountain in the west, Long Jingyu, Ji Mu, and the others were already waiting there. To Tan Xiu's surprise, Dai Xinyue also came. Tan Xiu had very complicated feelings toward Dai Xinyue. Back in Star City Chinese Medical Hospital, Dai Xinyue's kindness, diligence, and hard work made Tan Xiu appreciate her, so he accepted her as his disciple. However, Dai Xinyue was obsessed with medicine and her cultivation aptitude was mediocre. Her cultivation was always delayed by all kinds of major surgeries, so she was only at the early stage of golden core until now. And it was all thanks to Long Jingyu's support for her cultivation resources. However, compared to Dai Xinyue's achievements in cultivation, her achievements in medicine were too great. After a few decades, Dai Xinyue not only became the first person in the domestic medical field, but also won the Nobel Prize in the medical field on behalf of the country. In fact, when Tan Xiu came to Earth this time, he used his divine sense to observe Dai Xinyue. At that time, Dai Xinyue was leading a team to perform a major surgery, so Tan Xiu didn't disturb her. Master, this disciple has shamed you, said Dai Xinyue as soon as she saw Tan Xiu. She knelt down and kowtowed to Tan Xiu with a look of shame on her face. You've done a good job, Xinyue. Everyone has their own path, and your path is to save the dying, heal the wounded, and benefit the people. As long as you can persist, Your achievements in the future won't necessarily be worse than those of your senior brothers and junior brothers. After thoroughly comprehending the heavenly Tao law on earth, Tan Xiu's understanding of Tao had become more profound. Naturally, he wouldn't think that Dai Xinyue's path was wrong like before. Seeing that her master didn't criticize her, and instead affirmed her choice, Dai Xinyue, who had been restless all this time, was wild with joy. The smile on her face also became a little wider. After exchanging greetings with Long Zhengyu, Jimu, Dai Xinyue, and the others, Tan Xiu couldn't wait to escape into the depths of the pocket world, and took out the world core that he had seized from Duan Mulin. Whether it was drinking tea with the few old men who stood at the top of China in the imperial capital, or exchanging greetings with Dai Xinyue and the others, Tan Xiu's heart was always on the world core, because he had heard too many rumors about the world core in the immortal world. The world core had become a mythical existence in the immortal world. Can I really control the immortal world after refining the world core? Doesn't that mean I can travel back and forth between the three realms at any time? With this thought in mind, Tan Xiu did not hesitate to inject a trace of divine power into the world core. In the next moment, Tan Xiu's body disappeared from the pocket world and arrived in a completely unfamiliar world. However, when Tan Xiu saw the scene in front of him clearly, he was stunned. Chapter 1405. After Tan Xiu entered the heart of the realm, he was surprised to see his master, Hierarch Xiaoyao. Hierarch Xiaoyao was also stunned when he saw Tan Xiu, but he quickly greeted Tan Xiu with a smile. "Disciple, are you surprised to see me here?" Tan Xiu could tell from the smile on his master's face that his master was very happy to see him. "Master, can you tell me what's going on with the realm core? How come you left a wisp of your divine sense here?" After respectfully saluting his master, Tang Xiu then asked curiously, "The heart of the realm is also known as the heart of myriad realms. Once you master the heart of the realm, you can control myriad realms. The reason I left my will here is because I once obtained the heart of the realm." Upon hearing Tan Xiu's question, Hierarch Xiaoyao fell silent for a long time with a gloomy look on his face. After a long time, he finally answered in a low voice, "Refining the heart of the realm will allow one to control myriad realms. Didn't the legend say that refining the heart of the realm can only control the immortal realm?" Tan Xiu was so shocked by Hierarch Xiaoyao's words that he did not notice the unusual look on Hierarch Xiaoyao's face. "You said it yourself that it's only a legend. Rumors are always spread in the world, and how many of them can be taken seriously?" Hierarch Xiaoyao sighed. "Do you know how the heart of the realm came about? When the 12 gods started that world-ending war, they extracted the ancestral star's divine veins. Then they integrated all the cultivation resources of the ancestral star and spent 1,000 years to refine this divine artifact. They then transplanted the divine veins into this divine artifact. Not only does this divine artifact contain the ancestral star's divine veins, but it also contains all the heavenly Tao laws comprehended by the 12 gods, as well as the heavenly Tao laws comprehended by the God Kings, God Monarchs, God Emperors, and ultimate gods. The 12 gods' ambition was not only to control the divine world, but also to control myriad realms and dominate the universe. Once you refine the realm core, you'll be able to obtain endless cultivation resources and control endless heavenly Tao laws. Then you'll be able to control the divine world, immortal world, devil world, void world, Azura world, and many other worlds. Unfortunately, I saw through the ambitions of the 12 divine sovereigns. After I obtained the world core, I was surrounded by the 12 divine sovereigns. During the battle with the 12 hierarch gods, I destroyed almost all the other hierarch gods, godly monarchs, godly emperors, and hierarch heavenly Taoist laws. Then, I purposely messed up the 12 hierarch gods' laws, and used a supreme divine ability to throw the world core into the immortal world. In the years that followed, I was constantly being hunted down by the 12 divine sovereigns. I had no time to worry about the whereabouts of the world core. The 12 divine sovereigns should have sent incarnations to the immortal world to search for the world core, but the heavenly Tao laws they left in the world core were completely disrupted by my heavenly Tao laws. It would be very difficult for them to find the world core with just their incarnations. Since the 12 godly lords couldn't find the heart of the realm, they simply put up the highest bounty in the divine realm, asking all gods to help find the heart of the realm. However, they didn't reveal the truth about the heart of the realm. After listening to Hierarch Xiaoyao's words, Tan Xiu was deeply shocked by the truth of the matter. It turned out that the rumors he knew about the heart of the realm were all wrong. The heart of the realm wasn't the core of the immortal world, but a top-notch divine artifact that could control the myriad worlds. It wasn't something that should exist in the immortal world at all. Instead, it was a supreme treasure of the divine world jointly created by the 12 hierarch gods. After the heart of the realm was successfully refined, apart from the 12 hierarch gods and hierarch Xiaoyao, only 5 people had ever come into contact with the heart of the realm. One of them was an almighty being from the divine world, who had transmigrated to the immortal world several eras ago. He didn't completely refine the heart of the realm. Instead, he comprehended part of the heavenly Tao laws within the heart of the realm, expanding the immortal world by several million times, and establishing the largest force in the immortal world. This almighty being from the divine world obviously knew some secrets about the heart of the realm. Thus, he wasn't satisfied with the power he obtained from the heart of the realm. In the end, he suffered a backlash from the heavenly Tao laws. After the almighty being from the divine world, the one who obtained the heart of the realm was an almighty being from the Azura world. By chance, he managed to refine part of the heart of the realm, and nearly ascended to the divine world. At the critical moment, Hierarch Xiaoyao's divine sense guided him, causing him to suffer from cultivation deviation and perish. After the almighty being from the Azura world, the ones who obtained the heart of the realm were Jimu, Duanmu Lin, and Tan Xiu. Jimu and Duanmu Lin's cultivation were low, and they didn't have enough opportunities to refine the heart of the realm until Tan Xiu, who possessed godly force, obtained the heart of the realm. Disciple, you're truly blessed to be able to obtain the heart of the realm, because my divine sense will disappear in 3 years' time. After 3 years, even if you manage to obtain the heart of the realm, it will be very difficult for you to truly obtain the heart of the realm. Seeing that Tan Xiu was immersed in the story of the heart of the realm, Hierarch Xiaoyao didn't say anything to disturb him. Instead, he waited until Tan Xiu had digested his words before continuing. Since you've inherited my legacy and obtained the heart of the realm, let Master do one last thing for you. As Sir God Xiaoyao spoke, he waved his hands and formed a series of hand seals in the air. The 12 ultimate gods thought that I had destroyed all the heavenly way laws except for their own. In fact, how could I bear to destroy such a near-perfect artifact? Sir God Xiaoyao said with a smile. As Hierarch Xiaoyao spoke, a proud smile appeared on his face. There are 3 things that I'm most proud of in this old man's life. The first was creating the Xiaoyao theurgy and fooling the 12 hierarchs. The second was snatching food from the tiger's mouth. I snatched the heart of the realm from the 12 hierarchs, and tampered with the heart of the realm, to deceive the 12 hierarchs. It's a pity that they didn't even know who snatched the heart of the realm in the end. The third was perishing together with 7 of the 12 hierarchs. In the pocket world, the old man's laughter was so bold and sonorous that even Tan Xiu couldn't help but feel excited when he heard it. The 3 things that Hierarch Xiaorao had done were all good and earth-shattering things. Following the old man's laughter, the originally chaotic miniature world gradually became colorful. Strands of heavenly law that contained supreme divine abilities emerged, and dense divine origin power also rapidly filled the entire miniature world. Tan Xiu only took a breath, and felt that the bottleneck of his cultivation had loosened. His understanding and control of this world had also deepened. Disciple, refining the heart of the realm is enough to increase your cultivation by 3 realms. I'm not worried about the increase in your cultivation realm at all. I'm only worried about the increase in your temperament and cultivation. Remember, you must kill the remaining 5 of the 12 hierarchs and their remaining subordinates. Avenge me and restore the order of the divine realm. While Tan Xiu was still curiously observing the changes inside the heart of the realm, Hierarch Xiaoyao's voice suddenly rang in his ears. It was also at this time that Tan Xiu realized that Hierarch Xiaoyao's figure was slowly fading, and his voice was becoming more and more ethereal. Master! Recalling everything this old man had done for him, Tang Xiu's nose turned sour, and he couldn't help but shout out loud. Unfortunately, Hierarch Xiaoyao's divine sense had already been worn down over the endless years. When he restored the heavenly Tao laws and the ancestral star's divine veins that had been shielded inside the heart of the realm, the divine sense had already played its role and completely dissipated between heaven and earth. Master, I'll definitely remember your instructions and help you kill the remaining 12 hierarchs and restore the order of the divine realm. Tan Xiao silently knelt in the direction of where Hierarch Xiaoyao's figure had disappeared and said word by word. After regaining his composure, Tan Xiao began to carefully examine the inside of the heart of the realm. After Hierarch Xiaoyao cast a spell, the appearance of the heart of the realm had completely changed. Although the previous heart of the realm was also filled with the laws of heaven and earth, and the power of God Source was also very dense, the inside of the heart of the realm was completely chaotic. He couldn't see anything beyond 3 meters with the naked eye, and his divine sense was also completely blocked. At this time, the inside of the heart of the realm was filled with blue skies and white clouds, as well as tall mountains and flowing rivers. He could clearly see the length and thickness of each heavenly Tao law, the direction of the divine veins, and even the various cultivation resources. 9th stage Purple Zoysia, Yin God Flower, Fiery Sun Spirit Leaf, Frigid Flame Soul Fusing Fruit, Demonic Soul Returning Fruit. Haha, I've gathered all the materials needed to resurrect Old Sycamore and Eagle. After taking just a few steps inside the small world, Tan Xiao saw all the materials needed to resurrect Old Sycamore and Eagle, and he couldn't help but be overjoyed. According to Tan Xiao's plan, it would take him at least several hundred years to find all these materials. After gathering all the divine herbs, Tan Xiao couldn't wait to start refining them. However, just as Tan Xiao took out the pill cauldron, he felt a loud rumbling sound coming from the spirit sea inside his body. Immediately after, his cultivation bottleneck of the ancient god realm stopped with a crisp cracking sound, and Tan Xiao instantly became a god king. After Hierarch Xiaoyao executed the technique inside the heart of the realm, the originally gentle divine energy inside the heart of the realm instantly flared up and frantically surged into Tan Xiao's body. After Tan Xiao took a step forward, the dense energy inside the heart of the realm became even more berserk, and it almost forcefully poured into Tan Xiao's body. As a result, Tan Xiao broke through the bottleneck and became a god king without any warning. After Tan Xiao became a god king, the berserk energy inside the heart of the realm didn't weaken in the slightest. It fiercely attacked Tan Xiao's meridians and flesh, and Tan Xiao's cultivation realm also rose like a rocket. Early stage God King, mid-stage God King, high-level God King, and perfected God King. Then, with a crisp cracking sound, Tan Xiao became a God Monarch. In less than half an incense stick's time, Tan Xiao's cultivation rose from the God King realm to the God Monarch realm. This kind of cultivation speed was absolutely unprecedented in the divine world. However, things were far from over. After Tan Xiao became a God King, the dense energy inside the heart of the realm continued to surge into Tan Xiao's body, rampaging inside Tan Xiao's body. What happened in the God King realm continued to happen in the God Monarch realm. Early stage God Monarch, mid-stage God Monarch, high-level God Monarch, and perfected God Monarch. 4 hours passed, and Tan Xiao became a God Emperor. After becoming a God Emperor, the speed at which the energy from the heart of the realm poured into Tan Xiao's body slowed down significantly. Even so, after 6 hours, when the energy inside the heart of the realm finally stopped surging into Tan Xiao's body, Tan Xiao had already become a God Emperor. He was only 1 step away from becoming a God Emperor. Tan Xiao was completely shocked by the speed at which his cultivation was rising. He repeatedly checked his body several times to make sure that there were no problems with his body or his divine sense. Only then did he breathe a sigh of relief. Then he started to resurrect Old Sycamore and Eagle. Chapter 1406. Tang Xiao had originally planned to directly resurrect Old Sycamore and Eagle in the World Heart, but when he recalled his terrifying experience in the World Heart, he felt a lingering fear in his heart. He left the World Heart without the slightest hesitation, and returned to the small world west of Longquan Mountain. As long as he had all the spirit herbs, Tan Xiu would be able to resurrect old Sycamore, an eagle, even though he was a supreme being in the immortal world. Not to mention, now that Tan Xiu had advanced to the God Emperor realm, resurrecting old Sycamore and eagle wouldn't be a problem at all. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, 2 cauldrons of medicinal pills that emitted a boundless fragrance and spiritual energy were successfully produced. After carefully extracting old Sycamore and eagle's souls and blood essence, Tan Xiu used the medicinal pills to help old Sycamore and eagle forge perfect bodies for them. Only then did he forcibly fuse their souls and blood essence into the medicinal bodies. Tan Xiu didn't dare to be careless during the entire process. Only when all the steps were completed without any mishaps did Tan Xiu heave a sigh of relief. Immediately afterward, Tan Xiu sent out his divine sense and a ball of yin-yang divinity lake water appeared in midair. Tang Xiu's ball of lake water turned into 2 clouds of mist and slowly wrapped around the 2 medicinal bodies, allowing the mist to slowly seep into them. 2 hours later, old Sycamore was the first to open his eyes. When he saw Tan Xiu standing in front of him with a smile on his face, he couldn't help but reveal a dazed expression. He didn't know where he was. "Old Sycamore, you're very good. You and your brother are very good." Tan Xiu stared at old Sycamore for a long time, and said with a choked voice, "Sect Master, I didn't die in vain. You're still alive. Did you save me and Eagle as well?" Old Sycamore looked around and then glanced at Eagle, who also had a blank expression on his face. He asked with uncertainty, "That's right. I was going to die without a doubt, but you and Eagle risked your lives to save me, allowing me to live." Tang Xiu selectively recounted what happened after old Sycamore and Eagle died. "Thank you for saving my life, Sect Master. Old Sycamore will forever follow you without any second thoughts." After listening to Tan Xiu's story, old Sycamore and Eagle's eyes became moist. In the next moment, the 2 of them knelt in front of Tan Xiu. After exchanging a few pleasantries with old Sycamore and Eagle, Tan Xiu sent the 2 of them into his inner world. "I still have some matters to take care of on Earth. You 2 can go into my Dantian world to consolidate your realms and increase your cultivation. We'll conquer the God realm together after this." After settling old Sycamore and the eagle down, Tan Xiu once again entered the realm core, and carefully comprehended the laws of heavenly Tao within it. Tan Xiu first chose to comprehend the simplest and easiest heavenly Tao laws. Slowly he comprehended some of the more complicated and difficult heavenly Tao laws. In order to better comprehend the heavenly Tao laws, Tan Xiu even sat on top of the divine vein mountain peak. This was because there was a basic common sense in the God realm. Directly refining divine stones could increase the speed of comprehending cultivation techniques, and refining divine veins could directly increase one's comprehension ability by 1,000-fold. Tan Xiu sat there for 10,000 years. During these 10,000 years, not only did Tan Xiu thoroughly comprehend the heavenly Tao laws of all the divine kings, divine sovereigns, God emperors and God emperors inside the realm core, but he also had complete control over the heavenly Tao laws of the 12 venerated gods and venerated gods unfettered. Tan Xiu's cultivation realm had also increased once again, becoming a venerated god, and reaching the venerated god great perfection realm. A single moment of enlightenment actually lasted for 10,000 years. The divine vein is truly miraculous. The moment Tan Xiu straightened his body, his clothes turned into dust and drifted away with the wind. Tan Xiu's gaze became deep and enchanting. However, when he looked at the divine vein mountain peak that was almost half the height, Tan Xiu's face revealed a look of pity. In fact, even without the divine vein, Tan Xiu could still completely comprehend the heavenly Tao laws inside the realm core. However, it was hard to say how long it would take. It could be 100,000 years, 1,000,000 years, or even 10 million years. However, Tan Xiu did not want to wait that long. He was afraid that by the time he completely comprehended the heavenly Tao laws, the 12 venerated gods would have already died, and he would not be able to avenge his master. 10,000 years is too long. Seize every minute. Words once said by a great man on earth suddenly appeared in Tan Xiu's mind. After consuming so many divine veins, Tan Xiu's gains were naturally even greater. Not only did his cultivation level directly rise to the great perfection realm, But while comprehending the heavenly Tao laws of hundreds of thousands of divine kings, divine emperors, and divine emperors, Tanxiu also experienced their cultivation process at the same time. This made his temperament and cultivation level soar like a rocket, completely matching his divine power cultivation level. Another gain was that after refining the realm core, Tanxiu had become the lord of the myriad realms, and could control the life and death of the myriad realms. However, Tanxiu's biggest gain was not becoming the lord of the myriad realms, but after he completely comprehended all the heavenly Tao laws inside the realm core, he actually had the luck to fuse these heavenly Tao laws together, and created more than a dozen heavenly Tao laws that belonged to him. Among them, the strongest heavenly Tao law was the space-time law. 10,000 years in an instant. Tanxiu softly murmured before walking out of the realm core. As the space-time law was unleashed, the space-time around Tanxiu rippled. Tanxiu was still a divine venerable who had mastered countless heavenly Tao laws, but the space-time he was in was the small world west of Longquan Mountain the day before he entered the realm core. Jimu, you gave me an opportunity, and I'll grant you perfection. A drop of water should be repaid with a spring. Tanxiu's realm core was obtained because of the clues provided by Jimu. Naturally, he did not want to owe Jimu anything. Taking Jimu as his disciple was far from enough to repay Jimu's kindness for providing clues to the realm core. In the next moment, Tanxiu's figure traversed through space-time and arrived at the King Yanluo's realm. The King Yanluo's realm was shrouded in a dark mist, looking gloomy and terrifying. Even the palace in the King Yanluo's realm was dark and damp, and there was a smell of decay everywhere. After the apocalyptic war, the divine veins were moved away, and the city of God Source was sealed, causing the power of God Source on the ancestral star to gradually disappear. The power of God Source in the netherworld was also greatly affected. Before the apocalyptic war, Emperor Yanluo had the cultivation of a divine monarch. After the apocalyptic war, due to the disappearance of the power of God Source, Emperor Yanluo had no choice but to sacrifice his cultivation in order to maintain his lifespan. Now his cultivation had barely reached the peak of the tribulation passing stage. The overall strength of the King Yanluo's realm had also been greatly reduced, causing their control over the 6 paths of reincarnation to be greatly reduced. They could only control the life and death of the creatures on earth. Do you recognize me, King Yanluo? Tanxiu cast the incarnation divine ability and transformed into the appearance of the holy demon venerable. Only then did he swagger into the King Yanluo's palace and shouted. When Emperor Yanluo saw that someone dared to shout in his palace, he was furious and wanted to attack. But before he could speak, an invisible binding force made him completely immobilized. An endless fear surged in his heart. When Emperor Yanluo saw the face of the person in front of him, he was overjoyed. Greetings, Grand Ultimate God. Your Majesty, you've finally come to the King Yanluo's realm to see us. The King Yanluo's realm has been waiting for you for more than 10 eras. Emperor Yanluo did not dare to look up at Tanxiu. Instead, he bowed his head and kowtowed. Useless thing, I've given you control of the reincarnation path, but you've turned yourself into this. What's the point of keeping you alive? Tanxiu ignored the Emperor Yanluo's servile attitude and directly slapped him. Show me the Book of Life and Death. I'd like to see how you manage the reincarnation path. Emperor Yanluo was sent flying more than 10 feet away by Tanxiu's slap, but he did not dare to have the slightest resentment. Instead, he climbed up without hesitation and handed the Book of Life and Death to Tanxiu. Tanxiu scanned the Book of Life and Death with his divine sense and quickly found Renranran and Jiro's names. After discreetly erasing those 2 names, Tanxiu asked Emperor Yanluo for the souls of tens of thousands of people before leaving. From the beginning to the end, Tanxiu did not reveal his purpose of coming to the King Yanluo's realm, nor did he give any instructions to the King Yanluo's realm. Emperor Yanluo had been racking his brains for hundreds of years without knowing why the first ultimate god came to the King Yanluo's realm, and whether he had missed any opportunities. After leaving the King Yanluo's realm, Tanxiu did not hesitate to let thousands of souls enter the reincarnation path, and then helped Renranran and Jiro reconstruct their bodies and return their souls. When Tanxiu led Renranran and Jiro to stand in front of Jimu, Jimu burst into tears of joy, almost thinking that he was dreaming. Jimu, what's your plan for the future? After Jimu's family finished exchanging greetings, Tang Xiu called Jimu to the side and asked for his opinion. This disciple will obey master's orders. Jimu replied without hesitation. You are a sentimental person. After experiencing the matter with Ran Ran and Ro Ro, I guess you have no heart to kill. Why don't you manage the King Yanluo's realm for me in the future? Tan Xiu thought for a moment and ordered. Manage the King Yanluo's realm? Jimu could not help but widen his eyes, thinking that his master was joking with him. That's right. You will become the ruler of the King Yanluo's realm, command all the Yama Palace masters, and control the 6 paths of reincarnation. Tan Xiu patiently explained. After Master obtained the world core from Duan Mulin and successfully refined it, I have now become the Lord of Myriad Worlds, controlling the life and death and order of the Myriad Worlds. The King Yanluo's realm and the 6 paths of reincarnation are the most special and important departments in the Myriad Worlds, so I don't feel at ease leaving it to others to manage. Only you can shoulder this heavy responsibility. Thank you for your trust, Master. This disciple will not let you down. After listening to Tan Xiu's explanation, Jimu realized how heavy the burden on his shoulders was, but he still accepted it without any hesitation. After exchanging some words with Jimu, Tan Xiu went to see Long Zhengyu and the others. Long Zhengyu, Li Laozhan, Yu Kai, Hu Qingsong, Zhao Liang, and the other disciples of Tang sect were discussing about crossing the tribulation and ascending. They were overjoyed upon seeing Tan Xiu's arrival and subconsciously surrounded Tan Xiu. Apart from Long Zhengyu, there were 3 other disciples of Tang sect who had also reached the crossing tribulation stage after several decades. Therefore, a total of 4 people were going to cross the tribulation and ascend to the immortal world, whereas the rest would wait until they reached the crossing tribulation stage in the future before ascending to the immortal world. Since they were about to cross the tribulation and ascend to the immortal world, Long Zhengyu had transferred nearly all the cultivation resources to Li Laozhan, including the management of Tang sect, while the magnificent Tang Corporation was basically handed over to the Su family. After exchanging greetings with everyone, Tan Xiu teleported to the Ghost King Valley in the Divine Dragon Ridge. Chapter 1407. Ghost King Valley was a deep valley surrounded by 3 mountains. It was shrouded in fog all year round, and the shrubs were 1 to 2 meters high. It was full of thorns and craggy rocks. A slight carelessness could cause one to miss a step and fall into the endless abyss. There were countless birds and beasts in the valley, whose strength was comparable to a tribulation-passing stage cultivator. It was a barren land with few people around. Tan Xiu had only reached the periphery of Ghost King Valley last time. He left in a hurry after obtaining the divine phantasmal demon flower and demonic revival grass, because the strength of every fierce beast in the periphery of Ghost King Valley was comparable to his. He did not have the courage to go deeper into the valley. This time, Tan Xiu not only had the cultivation of an ultimate god, but he had also become the Lord of Myriad Realms. He was naturally not afraid of any danger. As soon as Tan Xiu stepped into Ghost King Valley, a few fierce beasts surrounded Tan Xiu. Tan Xiu glared at them and walked into the valley. The pitiful fierce beasts thought that they had been waiting for a delicious prey, but never did they expect that a calamity would come. Under Tang Xiu's gaze, these fierce beasts didn't even have the time to scream before they directly turned into nothingness. With these fierce beasts as an example, Tan Xiu no longer concealed his aura. He used his divine thoughts to change into 11 incarnations. Including himself, there were a total of 12 incarnations, and they walked directly into the depths of Ghost King Valley. If the Saint Demon Divine Master was here, he would definitely recognize that the Heavenly Way Law aura and Divine Power aura of these 12 incarnations were exactly the same as the 12 ultimate gods led by him. Under the pressure of Tan Xiu's powerful aura, no demonic beast dared to block his way along the way. Half an hour later, Tan Xiu had entered the depths of Ghost King Valley. He also felt the destructive divine power aura coming from the valley. Nearly 100 ultimate god puppets? If I can use these 100 ultimate god puppets, doesn't that mean I can sweep the divine world in an instant? Suddenly, such a thought emerged in Tan Xiu's mind. Greetings, 12 ultimate gods. Just as Tan Xiu was thinking about how to turn these godly realm puppets into his own, he had unknowingly approached within 1,000 meters of Ghost King Valley. The godly realm puppets had already noticed Tan Xiu's arrival. Tan Xiu secretly rejoiced when he was suddenly surrounded by nearly 100 ultimate god puppets. If he had not been prepared, he would have fallen into a bitter battle with dozens of puppets. Tan Xiu did not make a sound in the face of the god venerable puppets' respectful and orderly salute. Instead, he quietly looked at the puppets. Tan Xiu could not help but sigh softly as he looked at the hollow eyes and slightly sluggish bodies of these puppet ultimate gods. If it were not for the evil deeds of the 12 ultimate gods, these people would have been overlords, and would not have ended up in such a miserable state. As Tan Xiu was currently the incarnation of the 12 ultimate gods, these god-venerable puppets did not have any hostility towards Tan Xiu, nor did they put up any guard against him. Tan Xiu walked past a group of god-venerable puppets, and erased the spiritual imprints on them one by one before leaving his own spiritual imprint on them. The process sounded simple, but it was quite troublesome to perform because a little carelessness could very well cause the destruction of the god-venerable puppets. It took Tan Xiu a full 3 days to turn all 98 god-venerable puppets into his combat puppets. Tan Xiu was so tired that he almost collapsed. Every time Tan Xiu refined a god-venerable puppet, he had to adjust his breath to have enough divine power to refine the next god-venerable puppet. This was under the condition that Tan Xiu was in the city of God Source, where he did not have to worry about the lack of divine power. As expected of the city of God Source, the divine power here is much stronger than in the divine realm. If there is no isolation and obstruction of the formation, the overall strength of Earth will definitely surpass the divine realm if the divine power can flow to the outside world. When he arrived at the Ghost King Valley again, Tan Xiu could already tell that the 3 mountains outside the Ghost King Valley were not formed naturally. Instead, they were materials for the formation that had been transported here by someone with supreme divine power. The main purpose of the 3 mountains was to prevent the divine power from flowing to the outside world. The divine power of the city of God Source is decreasing with every use. It can't be replenished at all. Soon, Tan Xiu noticed something strange. Is it because there are no god ranges or mountains? Tan Xiu felt relieved when he thought about how the 12 godly venerables had moved the god ranges away in order to refine the heart of the realm. Tan Xiu speculated that the god ranges were originally hidden under the city of God Source. The divine power of the city of God Source basically came from the god ranges. The 12 godly venerables had moved the god ranges away in order to build a new city of God Source. Unfortunately, Tan Xiu had benefited from it in the end. Since the city of God Source and the god ranges were originally one, then let them continue to be one. Tan Xiu waved his hand and stored the city of God Source into the heart of the realm. Then he placed it on the god ranges. After the city of God Source disappeared, the 98 godly venerable puppets couldn't help but become restless. Since their main source of power was the divine power, they were very sensitive to the changes in the divine power. Tan Xiu smiled and stored the 100 or so godly venerable puppets into the heart of the realm as well. After doing all this, Tan Xiu left a clone on Earth to deal with the unfinished business, while his main body returned to the god realm immediately. The reason why Tan Xiu hurried back to the god realm was because his connection with the Golden Rock was getting weaker and weaker. This gave him an ominous premonition. When he thought about the people of the Great Tang Empire, who were left behind in the Jade Lake Divine Domain, Tan Xiu naturally had no intention of staying on Earth. In the Jade Lake Divine Domain, the Golden Rock's wings had already been broken, and his entire body was lying on the ground. Drunken Immortal Supreme and the others were covered in blood, and had completely lost the ability to resist. Golden Rock, I'll give you one last chance. Sign a master-servant contract with me, and become my battle pet again. Otherwise, not only will you lose your life, but all these ants behind you will also die with you. The Saint Demon Hierarch stared coldly at the Golden Rock, and said impatiently, Saint Demon, you exterminated my Golden Rock clan, deceived me for several eras, and trapped me for more than 10 eras. Do you think I'll acknowledge a thief as my father again? The golden rock spat out a mouthful of filthy blood upon hearing the Saint Demon Hierarch's words. Since you're so stubborn, then don't blame me for not considering our past relationship. The Saint Demon Hierarch's eyes turned cold when he heard the Saint Demon Hierarch's words, and the divine artifact in his hand slashed at the golden rock. The golden rock completely ignored the Saint Demon Hierarch's threat, and turned his head to the drunken Immortal Supreme and the others. He said with a guilty expression, "I'm sorry. I've implicated all of you. Originally, all of you had a chance to live, but because of my arrival, all of you have fallen into a hopeless situation." It turned out that after Tan Xiu left the Jade Lake Divine Domain, the Great Tang Empire's people, led by drunken Immortal Supreme and Supreme Star Radiance, quickly took over the Jade Lake Divine Domain. 100 years had passed, and more people ascended to the Jade Lake Divine Domain through the Immortal Exuviate Pond. Apart from newcomers from other galaxies, there were also newcomers from the Bank Galaxy, and most of them were from the Immortal World's Great Tang Empire. Under the management of drunken Immortal Supreme and Supreme Star Radiance, the Jade Lake Divine Domain developed better and better. The strength of drunken Immortal Supreme and Supreme Star Radiance also rose steadily. Drunken Immortal Supreme, who had the highest cultivation, had already become a perfected heavenly god, and Supreme Star Radiance had also become a great god. The cultivation of the others had also improved collectively. Just as the Great Tang Empire was concentrating on improving its strength, something unexpected happened. Since the head of the 12 hierarchs, the Saint Demon God, was from the Puppet Galaxy, he had many territories in the Puppet Galaxy. The Heavenly Jade Divine Domain was one of the territories of the Saint Demon God, and the Jade Lake Divine Domain, which was a subsidiary of the Heavenly Jade Divine Domain, was also the territory of the Saint Demon God. Therefore, the important positions in these divine domains were all held by the descendants of the Saint Demon God. 2 years ago, on the birthday of the Saint Demon God, all the descendants of the Saint Demon God had sent gifts to celebrate. However, the ceremony officer found that 2 gifts were missing. After a thorough investigation, he found that the Li Jin and Li Mu brothers from the Jade Lake Divine Domain did not send any gifts. The 2 of them did not even arrive at the birthday banquet. The person in charge of the Heavenly Jade Divine Domain was furious. They rushed to the Jade Lake Divine Domain before the Saint Demon God found out about this. They wanted to capture and punish the Li Jin and Li Mu brothers. After the Heavenly Jade Divine Domain's troops arrived at the Jade Lake Divine Domain, they found that the Jade Lake Divine Domain had changed. The Jade Lake Divine Domain had been guarding against the arrival of the Heavenly Jade Divine Domain's troops. Before the Heavenly Jade Divine Domain could declare war, they stepped into the trap that the Jade Lake Divine Domain had carefully prepared for them, and were completely annihilated. By the time the person in charge of the Heavenly Jade Divine Domain realized that something was wrong, 2 days had passed. At this time, the Saint Demon God had already learned that the Li Jin and Li Mu brothers did not attend his birthday banquet. However, he had too many children and grandchildren, so he did not take this matter to heart. Instead, he casually ordered the person in charge of the Heavenly Jade Divine Domain to be punished. The pitiful people in charge of the Heavenly Jade Divine Domain did not even figure out why their troops did not return before they were taken away by the law enforcement forces of the temple. After the new person in charge took office, he did not hesitate to launch an all-out attack on the Jade Lake Divine Domain. Although the overall strength of the Jade Lake Divine Domain was weaker than the Heavenly Jade Divine Domain, they had made sufficient preparations, were proficient in the art of war, and had rich experience in war. Therefore, this battle lasted for more than half a year. The new person in charge of the Heavenly Jade Divine Domain, who faintly felt that something was wrong, had to take the risk of turning around and reporting the matter to the temple. When the Saint Demon God heard that his territory might have been occupied, he was furious and sent his trusted subordinates to deal with this matter. At this time, Golden Rock returned to the God realm. After showing the token of Tan Xiu to the drunken Immortal Supreme and Supreme Star Radiance, he gained the recognition and trust of the people of the Great Tang Empire. With the accumulation of a large number of cultivation resources, Golden Rock's strength improved by leaps and bounds, and he quickly recovered to the hierarch stage. Then, the people sent by the Saint Demon God to deal with the Jade Lake Divine Domain met with tragedy. One person died and 2 people died. If it were not for the fear of being discovered by the Saint Demon God, Golden Rock would have led the great Tang Empire to trample the heavenly Jade Divine Domain and become a hegemon. Even so, more than a year had passed, and the people of the temple had been defeated one after another in the Jade Lake Divine Domain. The Saint Demon God had been made a fool of by the other 4 hierarchs, so he had no choice but to come and see what had happened. When the Saint Demon God saw Golden Rock all of a sudden, especially when he saw the master servant contract on Golden Rock, he was shocked. He thought that another freak like Hierarch Carefree had appeared in the God realm and wanted to plot against him. The cautious Saint Demon God was so scared that he did not dare to show himself. Instead, he hid in the dark and constantly sent a large force to exhaust Golden Rock's divine power. He even almost lost Golden Rock's life several times. After probing carefully for half a year, the Saint Demon God confirmed that Golden Rock had returned to the God realm alone. The master servant contract on Golden Rock did not help him at all. Chapter 1408. Golden Rock, I'll give you one last chance. Are you really willing to lose your life rather than submit to me? Thinking of the tens of thousands of years he had fought alongside Golden Rock, the Saint Demon Sovereign tried to make a final effort. The hatred of exterminating my clan is absolutely irreconcilable. Don't even think about it, Golden Rock replied disdainfully. Since you don't know how to cherish it, I naturally can't let you live. Seeing that Golden Rock had made up his mind, the Saint Demon Sovereign no longer held any hope in him. He slashed down with his saber and closed his eyes in pain at the same time. In the next moment, a loud bang entered the Saint Demon Sovereign's ears. When he opened his eyes, he found that Golden Rock had suddenly disappeared. His giant saber had fallen to the ground, and an unfamiliar young man had appeared in front of him. It was none other than Tang Xiu, who had rushed back to the God world in the nick of time and saved Golden Rock's life. After sending Golden Rock into the realm core, Tang Xiu glanced at the heavily injured Supreme Star Radiance, Supreme Drunken Immortal, and the others, and his eyes turned ice-cold. Tang Xiu had neglected the difference in the flow of time between the God realm and Earth. He had only stayed on Earth for a few days, but he had never thought that more than 100 years had passed in the God realm. Tang Xiu didn't dare to imagine what kind of tragedy would have befallen the great Tang Empire if he hadn't returned to the God realm in time. Young man, who are you? Where did you take Golden Rock? Seeing Tang Xiu standing in front of him without fear, the Saint Demon Sovereign's cautious nature began to play tricks again. It doesn't matter who I am. It's fine as long as I know who you are. After staring at the Saint Demon Sovereign for a moment, Tang Xiu recalled his master's instructions and suddenly smiled. He said abruptly, I took Golden Rock into the heart of the realm. It's heavily injured, so only the divine veins and elixirs in the heart of the realm can help it recover quickly. What did you say? The heart of the realm? Young man, where did you find the heart of the realm? Can you let me see it? The Saint Demon Sovereign was originally wary of Tang Xiu, but after hearing the heart of the realm, he was shocked and couldn't wait to urge Tang Xiu. Under the nervous gaze of the Saint Demon Sovereign, Tang Xiu nonchalantly threw the heart of the realm at the Saint Demon Sovereign. When the Saint Demon Supremacy's attention was completely focused on the world core, just as he was about to touch it, a sword beam suddenly appeared and split the Saint Demon Supremacy's body in half. Brat, you actually dared to scheme against me? You've got guts. Saint Demon Venerable roared in exasperation from a few meters away, glaring at Tang Xiu. He had been fooled by a young man. If not for the fact that he had a deity-grade substitute puppet with him, he might have lost his life. He had controlled the deity world for countless eras, but the Holy Devil Sovereign had never suffered such a loss. Not only do I dare to trick you, but I also dare to kill you. Do you believe me? Tang Xiu replied coldly to the holy demon. Then, with a thought, everyone from the Jadestone Divine Domain behind him was taken into the world core. It's been a long time since anyone dared to speak to me like this in the God world. All those who dared to speak to me like this in the past are dead. How do you want to die? Saint Demon Hierarch scolded while secretly checking Tang Xiu's cultivation. Tang Xiu saw that the Saint Demon Sovereign didn't make a move. He instantly understood that the Saint Demon Sovereign was afraid of his strength. With old and new hatred piling up, Tanxiu couldn't be bothered to talk to the Saint Demon Sovereign. He directly took out the Demon Slayer Divine Sword and used the Incarnation Theurgy to trap the Saint Demon Sovereign in an instant. Incarnation Theurgy. Are you the descendant of the Divine Carefree? The Saint Demon Sovereign couldn't help but exclaim when he saw the densely packed figures of Tanxiu, and the weapon in Tanxiu's hand was the exclusive divine weapon of the Divine Carefree. The next moment, the Saint Demon Sovereign sent a message to the other ultimate gods in the temple without hesitation. The descendant of the Divine Carefree has appeared with the heart of the realm. It wasn't that the Saint Demon Sovereign didn't want to take the heart of the realm for himself. It was because he couldn't see through Tanxiu's strength at all. Moreover, he sensed a strong confidence from Tanxiu and a strong killing intent from Tanxiu. After being ambushed and assassinated by the Divine Carefree time and time again, the Saint Demon Sovereign didn't dare to underestimate the Divine Carefree at all. Even when facing the descendant of the Divine Carefree, he still paid 120% of his attention. After receiving the message from the Saint Demon Sovereign, the other 4 ultimate gods teleported to the scene of the battle without hesitation. After all, the heart of the realm was a divine weapon jointly created by the 12 ultimate gods. Controlling the heart of the realm meant controlling all worlds. Not only did the heart of the realm contain the endless heavenly Tao laws, but it also contained the countless treasures that the 12 ultimate gods had painstakingly collected from the ancestral planet. The core of the world was the true temple in the hearts of the 12 hierarchs. The current temple was nothing more than a replica of the core of the world that they had built after the core of the world was lost. Whether it was the scale of the building or the value of the building, it was far inferior. Therefore, the heart of the realm was incomparably attractive to the 12 ultimate gods. When Tanxiu realized that all 5 ultimate gods from the temple were present, a mocking smile suddenly appeared on his face. The next moment, 98 puppet ultimate gods were released by Tanxiu from the heart of the realm. Under Tanxiu's command, these puppet ultimate gods attacked the 5 ultimate gods from the temple without hesitation. Saint Demon, you'll die a horrible death. You knew that the other party had set a trap, yet you still told us to jump in. Damn it, aren't these the puppet ultimate gods from Divine Source City? Why aren't they listening to our orders and attacking us instead? Please stop, sir. As long as you spare our lives, we're willing to serve you as our master. When the 98 ultimate gods suddenly appeared on the battlefield and blocked all the escape routes of the 5 ultimate gods from the temple, the 5 ultimate gods knew that they had lost the battle. If the 5 ultimate gods were given enough time to prepare, they could have mobilized the entire Divine Territory's military forces to the Jasper Lake Divine Territory. Even if Tanxiu had 98 ultimate gods, it would be useless. Unfortunately, Tanxiu's appearance was too sudden. The 5 ultimate gods were not prepared for Tanxiu at all. They did not expect Tanxiu to have 98 ultimate gods with him. Although the combat prowess of the hierarch puppets were not as good as that of a real hierarch, there were too many of them. Almost every 20 hierarch puppets besieged one hierarch, and Tanxiu was watching from the sidelines, supervising and giving the finishing touches. No matter how strong the 5 hierarchs were, they could only passively take a beating. Tanxiu completely ignored the 5 ultimate gods' pleas and silently ordered the ultimate gods' puppets to strengthen their attacks. Meanwhile, he continued to use the space-time law to disrupt the 5 ultimate gods' heavenly way law and accelerate their defeat. The 5 ultimate gods no longer begged for mercy when they saw that Tanxiu was determined to kill them. Instead, they took out all kinds of substitute puppets, battle pets, divine weapons, and elixirs that could stimulate their potentials. They directly targeted Tanxiu and kept attacking Tanxiu together. However, Tanxiu had long understood the 5 ultimate gods' heavenly way law. In the process of understanding the 5 ultimate gods' heavenly way law, he had experienced the 5 ultimate gods' cultivation process one by one. He even had a very clear understanding of their temperament. Therefore, all the 5 ultimate gods' plans were like child's play in front of Tanxiu. It was a battle between ultimate gods. This was an earth-shattering battle. It was an unprecedented battle since the birth of the divine realm. The 5 ultimate gods had no choice but to use their trump cards when their lives were at stake. Tan Xiu was afraid that he would not be able to find such a good opportunity to kill the 5 ultimate gods after they escaped. He also went all out, and even let the ultimate gods' puppets self-destruct at the critical moment, just to stop the 5 ultimate gods from escaping. A sword slashed through the void. A saber slashed out an abyss. A punch punched out a black hole. A kick shook the earth and the mountains. The chaotic battle lasted for 5 days. No one knew what had happened because everyone who had witnessed the battle had all been turned into ashes. After 5 days, the Jade Lake Celestial Territory and the Heavenly Jade Celestial Territory had completely disappeared from the Divine Realm. The Puppet Galaxy's territory had almost been turned into ruins. The entire Celestial Territory was directly divided into 8 major plates, and the Divine Realm's area had shrunk by 1/3. When Tan Xiu confirmed that the 5 ultimate gods were dead, and there was no trace of them left in this world, he heaved a sigh of relief. At this time he only had 27 ultimate god puppets left, and these 27 ultimate god puppets were missing arms and legs. This made Tan Xiu's heart ache. However, the 5 ultimate gods' foundation was too deep. They had an endless stream of life-saving treasures, unstoppable escape skills, and unpredictable assassination techniques. If it were not for Tan Xiu's cautious nature and his constant vigilance, it would have been impossible for Tan Xiu to kill the 5 ultimate gods in one fell swoop. It was even possible that he would have died in the hands of the 5 ultimate gods. When Tan Xiu led the 27 ultimate god puppets into the heart of the realm, he was greeted with cheers from the Great Tang Empire. Although the people of the Great Tang Empire couldn't participate in this world-ending battle, they could clearly see all the details of the battle from inside the heart of the realm. During these 5 days, the people of the Great Tang Empire felt like they were riding a roller coaster. Supreme Star Radiance and Supreme Bella were so scared that they fainted several times. Master, I originally thought that I would have to wait at least hundreds of thousands of years to avenge the extermination of my clan, and I might even hate it for the rest of my life. I never thought that you would help me avenge my clan in less than 100 years. Golden Rock kowtowed to Tan Xiu a few times and said gratefully. Golden Rock had recognized Tan Xiu as his master because he valued Tan Xiu's growth potential. But at this moment, he was completely conquered by Tan Xiu's strength. As for the people of the Great Tang Empire, it was needless to say that Tan Xiu had become an existence that they could only look up to. They never dreamed that Tan Xiu would be able to become an ultimate god in just 100 years and eliminate the Gods Templar's highest rulers. They didn't even know what to say to Tan Xiu now. Senior Golden Rock. Although the Gods Templar's 5 ultimate gods have been annihilated, the Gods Templar has been operating in the God realm for millions of years. Their influence must be deeply rooted. In the next 50 years, I hope that you can lead the 27 ultimate god puppets to sweep the entire God realm and eliminate all the remaining forces of the Gods Templar. Can you do it? Senior Drunken Immortal, Supreme Star Radiance, Supreme Bella. Although the Gods Templar has been annihilated, the order of the God realm cannot be disrupted. I need you to assist me in reorganizing the order of the God realm and implementing the laws of the Great Tang Empire to the entire God realm. This will turn the God realm into a free, peaceful, just, and prosperous cultivation world. Can you do it? Old Sycamore, Eagle, I need you to return to the immortal world with me and select suitable talents to help me manage the order of the myriad worlds and restore the glory of the God realm. Are you willing to do this? After telling everyone about how he had refined the realm core, ascended to the perfected ultimate God realm, and became the Lord of the myriad worlds, Tan Xiu put on a serious expression and issued a series of orders. Returning from the immortal world has come to an end. I thank all of you for accompanying me for the past 2 years. Whether you like it or not, Quiet Knight has already done his best. I hope that all of you can accompany me when I publish my new book. Also, during the preparation period for my new book, Quiet Knight will be interacting with all of you on WeChat at any time. The WeChat official account will also be updated with all kinds of beautiful pictures and Quiet Knight's news from time to time. If you are interested in Quiet Knight's gossip and my new book, please follow Quiet Knight's Prestige official account, JYGS00. or select it from the friend list and search for Quiet Night's Thoughts. The correct chapters of Returning from the Immortal World will continue to be updated on the Green Bean Novel website. There will be no advertisements on the website, so please bookmark and recommend it to the Green Bean Novel website. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.